Do we do a proper intro? I feel like we never do a proper intro.
We never do a proper intro, and I'll do it. I'll do it what I normally do it.
Okay.
You just let me know. All right, cool.
I'm
Here
ready.
we go.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna pause so that you know.
I'm recording all of this, baby. Get going.
All right, here we go. Welcome. This is Spoilercast or whatever the shit. We're reviewing Loki, the first episode. It just came out today. Yeah. That's Jake over there. My name's Nick. We're the usual suspects on this show. And we plan to review this show until it ends, and then we'll review the next one. But
nuts to butts.
Nuts to butts, as he says. And so let's get into it. Episode 1. That's the only thing that's been out so far. So episode 1, what do you got? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
So apparently, like, a bunch of people got screeners of the first 2 episodes. So I was under the impression they were going to drop the first 2 episodes, much like they did with WandaVision.
Right.
And, yeah, that's not what they did. So just the first episode, just going strictly off the first episode. It was a mess, huh? But like,
it kind of was.
Yeah, and I'm feeling a little confused. I feel like it could turn into something really cool, but I'm feeling very confused because all of the reviews I'm seeing are like, it was so awesome, it was so great, and like Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston had such great chemistry, and I'm like, I feel like maybe because they watched the second episode they have this impression. But like, I feel from the first episode, okay, it's cool, it's tied in, right? They actually showed the events of Endgame where he grabs the cube and goes
which I thought was confusing on its own. Like, if you've never seen Endgame or the first Avengers, you're gonna feel so lost.
Yeah, this show is definitely like, you've seen Endgame.
Yeah.
But like it and then he goes into this like portal, right? And he goes into this area, and the green screen looks so fucking bad. Like, am I alone in this? Like, it looked so fucking bad.
The green screen in which area?
When he's like out in that deserty area.
I didn't notice a green screen.
Where they first come out of the portals and like grab
the desert and
the time cop guys. Yeah, the green screen just looked so fucking bad, and then they bring him into this world. I will say I really like the late 70s, early 80s vibe of everything.
It's very Control, the video game.
Yeah.
It's very Control.
Yeah, it is a lot like Control.
They have the tape. They have the tape that plays the videos on like a projector and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, I like the aesthetic a lot. Yeah.
But yeah, the only green screen that I really saw in the episode was when he like sees what the city looks like, and I'm like, oh
really
shit,
bad too.
Oh shit, it's Coruscant.
Yeah.
It's just like,
it made me think of Sakaar, right? Which is the planet he goes to in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It looked like that, but like way worse. It looked bad. It looked like a matte painting, but like blurry.
Yeah,
and like
it looked pretty bad.
But
it's
bad.
A TV show.
Yeah, I know, but like, I don't know. I guess I expect more from the Marvels. But like, so let me get the gripes out of the way, because I'm gonna go hard on this show, and then I'll venture
You'll
back
rein
into
it back.
Yeah. Because like, then the other problem I had with the show was like, it was a lot of exposition dumps, which I get it. You're explaining timelines, and like you have that's a lot. But like, then when it was the scene with Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, right, in that room, and they're talking to each other, everyone's like, they have such great chemistry. I was like, I'm pretty sure they filmed this in different rooms, because it kept like, just the cuts like kept cutting like just directly on
just
them
to him.
And there was never like a 2-shot unless he was like really far away. And like, it almost felt like, and maybe they were because of, the old COVID, but like, it felt like they were in different rooms. I didn't feel the chemistry, but I'm still hopeful. Because I think what they're setting up is really cool, because I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like what they're setting up is this is the X-Files, but instead of aliens, they're getting time variants. Yeah, that's what it feels like to me, right? Like, they're setting up like Like Loki is Agent Scully, and Owen Wilson is fucking David Duchovny.
For sure. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
There was a point that he's like, where he's like, this is an illusion. And this has nothing to do with what you're talking about, but it's in that same scene, I suppose. He's like, this is an illusion, and I'm like, oh, what if it is? And then I'm thinking like sorcerers, I'm thinking Dormammu, I'm thinking bigger picture, not just like timelines, but like somebody makes, Loki think that it's breaking timelines.
What's bigger than timelines, though?
I don't know. The fact that it, like, they introduce these 3 characters and they're like the timekeepers, and that's it. They're the timekeepers, and everybody follows these rules. Everybody follows these rules. Who are these guys? We don't know. They're just the time guys. They live in time, and they do time things.
Well, I feel like we'll maybe get more of that, but yeah, it does seem like they're sort of ethereal creatures that we'll never actually see.
Right. Yeah, and also, well, even the people working there, like where did these guys come from?
Right.
Who's Owen Wilson, and what? Like, is he a human? Is he one of these also ethereal beings that is just? I'm wondering there.
I'm like wondering if like the world that they live in, right, is like an alternate timeline in and of itself. So technically, there's 2 timelines, and everyone who works in this timeline is a variant, like Loki. Like Owen Wilson is a variant as well, but like they work in tandem, so this timeline maintains this other timeline. So there has always been 2 timelines or something. I don't know.
It's very much like Men in Black, where they coexist, but one has no idea of the other, but the other knows completely about everything.
Yeah. Well, because it's obviously a different like dimension, because they go there and the fucking stones
don't work.
Don't do anything, which almost feels like a slap in the face, because it's like we spent 22 fucking movies where it's just those, and now they're useless.
And they're useless, but that's fucking
you gotta lose
comic books though.
That's Dragon Ball, baby.
It's Dragon Ball too. It's just like it's even more Dragon Ball when they're like, oh yeah, your world sucks, and now you have to fight in this thing with other worlds where people are stronger than you just because they're different. It's very Dragon Ball, but I agree with you. The pacing is all over the place, I feel like, with this, because they're just I feel like I don't know how long this is going to be, 6 to 8 episodes, I think they said.
That seems to be what they've all been, so yeah.
So if it's in that amount of time, I feel like they're just taking the first episode and just going, here's all the fucking information.
Yeah.
And then the next ones are going to be like, okay, now that you've set this up,
now the journey begins.
So
that's definitely what it feels like, because I mean, there's straight up a section where it cuts to, and I did appreciate that this is how they ended up like explaining the timelines. Like it cuts to like basically a Schoolhouse Rock video, which is Miss Minute, which is played by Tara Strong. Appreciate that. I bet she was fucking hyped. She's like, dude, I'm in the MCU now. Yes. But yeah, so they just sort of explained like how the timelines work through this thing, and it felt like a lot of that. Like, let's explain this, but let's also like, give the I don't really know what's up with Owen Wilson. Also, that DB, I'm jumping all over the place. I'm sorry, but also
that's fine.
Also, the fact that fucking Loki is DB Cooper is weird as fuck.
Loki is DB Cooper?
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
He is DB Cooper.
From
the guy who stole the famous guy who stole.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, who got on the plane and stole all the money. Yeah, and then
Loki is DB Cooper.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I couldn't think of,
because he made a bet. He made a bet with Thor, which is kind of funny, but it's also like, I don't know, that felt really out of place and weird.
Yeah. But because like, why would he be on Earth at that point? It just doesn't make any sense.
I also don't understand why he would say he was young at that point. That was in the 60s or whatever, which was only, for him, not that long ago because he lives for hundreds of years. So
Right.
like
Yeah.
the 60s, in the grand scheme of things, he wouldn't have been much younger than he is now, right? I mean, maybe I'm
I couldn't imagine. Yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
I'm that's a very nitpicky thing, but
it's a nitpicky thing
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Anything else that stood out to you that was just kind of odd?
As far as that goes, I mean, it's just that like I feel like it just felt like a lot of nonsense, but like them just kind of explaining things. To me though, it does feel like this show is going to have a lot of ramifications, so they're like setting this up to, because I feel like timelines are going to be a big part of this next phase of movies.
Well, they completely fucked the timeline up when they, fucked the timeline up and Captain America went back and returned all the stones and shit. And you're like, okay,
Well,
all right.
I don't know if you caught this with that little Miss Minute where she was explaining it. She's like, if something goes wrong, it can devolve into madness.
Right,
Which
yeah.
Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness.
Madness.
So
yeah.
like I feel like this is going to tie into that, and then we're also hearing all these rumors about how Tobey Maguire is going to be in the new Spider-Man. Like I feel like this show is going to have huge ramifications on the entire MCU. But at the same time, I feel like it's going to be a very contained story, so much so that I feel like we could even see a season 2, because it just feels like X-Files. Like they're setting up like an X-Files thing.
And that could like go on forever too.
Like
if it sticks with how I'm thinking it's going to stick with, then yeah, it'll be
totally be like a procedural sort of
right. Yeah. And it's like it could follow like the main storyline, you have all the timelines getting fucked up, and it's like Loki in this secondary timeline just fixing all the shit that's been happening.
Yeah.
And that's just how his role now. He's not like the bad guy. He works with the TVA.
Yeah, almost
so,
like this Loki is a completely different character.
Well,
like,
he is.
Yeah, he is. He's a totally different Loki than the one that we know. Like as time goes on, he's going to turn into something. Like, I'm not the god of mischief in here. I'm just some dude. You know what I mean? Like, and I also feel like we're going to see a shit ton of Lokis, because I feel like there's probably a ton of Lokis in there causing trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught, but one of the scene where he like gets pushed into the lobby, and he's like, "Ma'am, would you please sign in?" or something like that, and she's just like gives him the Tesseract or whatever. Was that Loki in the background getting pushed around, but like a different version of him?
I did not notice that.
Really? Like that? There was that guy, and then there was another guy who was like, where he's like standing in line, and the guy's like, "Get a ticket." He's really? There's only 2 of us. I'm like, is that Loki? Is that supposed to be like an alternate Loki from a different timeline or something? And both of them
think so.
they kind of look like him a little bit, but they, they're wearing different clothes, and they look like stunt doubles a little bit. But
that was funny though, when he's just like, all right, and he just fucking melts the guy.
yeah,
I like that.
I also like the part where he escapes essentially, and he puts the collar on the chick, and he's just like, all right, okay, all right, let's do this again. Fuck you, bitch.
Yeah,
fuck you.
And then he's like, yeah, that's good.
It was just like, yeah, fuck that bitch.
Maybe,
I feel
maybe
like his character's
like,
a little all over the place too, but I think that is needed for setting it up.
I feel like maybe I was a little hard on this show, but like I feel like this show has the potential to be like my favorite of these 3 shows. Just with what it's setting up. I just feel like this first episode was a little rough. But like I feel like if they are able to nail it on the next one, like I can forgive it, because there's something there that's like cool, and I'm interested. Charming. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But like this first episode was kind of rough.
How long was it? Do you know how long it was?
It's about 50 minutes.
Really? I feel like it needed to be a little longer, just to like, set up some of those
Oh, that's a
scenes that
good
they
thing.
like rewind.
If you feel that way, that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like it should have been like maybe an hour and a half, because there's the scenes where the Owen Wilson or Mobius is like
Oh wow.
being like, hey,
Wow.
this is how your life would have turned out, and we've already seen it,
Wow.
because it is how it turned out, and then he dies. But I feel like,
Hey Loki, you killed your
it,
mom. Did you know that? Wow.
wow,
Wow,
oh, wow.
ka-chow.
Ciao. That's the first thing I said. Danielle's like, "Is that Owen Wilson?" And I'm like, "It sure is." Ka-chow.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
wow.
crazy. You killed your mom like that. Wow.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I've never even been to Mount Vesuvius.
Yeah, dude. I feel like they would have some pretty good chemistry, because right now it's kind of like good cop, bad cop. Kind of like, oh, you're just a fucking
Yeah, this
kid.
could
I'm being your friend, but also I'm hard on you,
this
And
could
I
turn
feel
into
like,
the buddy cop movie that we wanted from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
for sure,
Yeah.
yeah. And it doesn't need like, family time, or Captain America time. It's just like, yeah, Loki's a bad dude, and he doesn't really have a family, but it doesn't need to set up like a backstory or anything, because we already have it.
Yeah, and I he goes into it as the Loki from after the Avengers, but it's
Right.
almost like we're getting the Loki from after Thor Ragnarok, because he sees all of how his life plays out, and it's almost like, okay, I get it. I know who I am. And it's almost like, okay, now he's the Loki that we got at the end of Avengers, or like the Loki that sacrificed himself in Infinity War.
I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't like fully go into that character, that Loki. I hope he's still kind of jaded.
Oh, well, I feel like
as
he
like,
still kind of was in those movies. He
well,
was he was like conniving and like an anti-hero sort of guy, but like, he's doing the right thing. He's sort of like a Vegeta type, you know what I mean?
yeah. Well, he's
Yeah.
very much Vegeta. He's
Yeah.
so much like Vegeta, dude. And Thor is so much like Goku. Well,
Goku.
Thor is kind of like Goku, isn't he?
Goku doesn't drink beer.
Well,
Thor
yeah.
does.
I'm super excited to see what the next couple episodes bring.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot to say about this one, honestly. It's just kind of a setup.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of like, I think I wasn't fully expecting them to go head first into timelines like that. So that's pretty cool. And as far as marketing, like, I didn't watch any of the trailers, so like I didn't know what we were getting until we started the show.
Right, yeah. I think I saw one trailer, and then I saw Tom Hiddleston like do like what has happened to Loki since we last saw him, or whatever, and he's like, so this happened, then they dies. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good recap. Yeah. But that's about it. I didn't watch any. I tried to steer clear of it because I am genuinely excited about this one.
Well, let's do the worst thing you can possibly do in one of these bad boys, and you have any sort of predictions, or?
Oh,
what do you think?
Okay, I have an outlandish prediction.
Okay.
And I don't know how it connects, except for the colors of the Loki logo, and when the Marvel logo comes out, it's all green.
It's green
and like gold on the sides and whatnot. And I'm like,
Hulk.
It's fucking Doctor Doom right there.
Oh,
it's fucking Doctor Doom.
They're all green. I feel like Loki's color was green too.
Yeah, I'll say that until it happens. I will say that until it happens. But especially with the thing where he's like, "Is this all an illusion?" I'm like, "Ooh, we got sorcerers up in here causing illusions and whatnot."
I think this show will definitely tie directly into Doctor Strange. Or Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, Well, it's definitely into Spider-Man for sure. For sure, it's in Spider-Man. Do we know what's coming out next? Have they said anything about what's coming out next?
As far as shows or movies?
As far as shows.
Shows, I think it's She-Hulk is the next one.
Oh, yeah, and we have nothing. We don't know anything about that.
My prediction is we're going to see...
Ooh, Jesus, that's
well, and like this is an outlandish prediction as well. But I'm actually hoping for this. I hope we get to see some Steve Rogers shenanigans. I hope he shows up in this
again. Yeah, okay.
Yes. Like, what do you mean again?
You're always like, hey, let's get some Steve Rogers, even with Bucky and the Winter Soldier. Like Steve Rogers is going to show up.
Yeah, well, it made sense in that because I mean that's a continuation, and we, last time we saw him, he's an old guy. I thought we were going to see old Steve in that one. I don't think we're going to see old Steve in this. I think we're going to see normal Steve doing his returning of the stones in this one. And we're going to get a little catch up with Steve. Maybe he has to come help them out on a little side adventure before he goes and returns another one of them stones.
I don't know.
I think it'd be cool. I just want to see Steve Rogers. He's my boy. He's my boy.
I don't know if that would... I could see it being like a background thing. Like you see him in the background like putting a stone like comically on like an altar or something, and then he shuffles away.
He winks at the camera.
Yeah, just like a freaking just like the creator. What's the creator of Marvel? What's his name?
Stan Lee.
Stanley, just like a Stanley cameo.
It'd be cool if like Chris Evans was the new Stanley cameo.
The new cameo guy, yeah, for sure. Or even Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, he's not gonna do that.
Probably not. But yeah, I don't know. I was thinking.
Well, technically, the next thing, Nick, is What If. That's the next thing.
Yeah, that's the next thing.
But like, that's not gonna tie into anything.
Is that tied in?
No, those are literally what ifs. It's animated. It's
Yeah, What If comes in summer 2021.
Yeah.
Hawkeye comes late 2021.
Oh, so Hawkeye's the next thing, huh?
Miss Marvel also late 21.
Oh, I was way off then, huh? She-Hulk is until next year.
She-Hulk is 2022. Okay. There's also something called Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight. Yeah, that's gonna be sick.
And Secret Invasion, and Ironheart,
Oh my
and
god.
Armor Wars, and I Am Groot, and
oh my god.
a Wakanda series.
Dude, there's so much.
There's so much.
How do you keep up with all this? We're gonna have to.
I'm looking at it like but yeah, we'll fucking. I mean, if they come out like at this rate,
yeah,
I'm
it's
down.
Fine. Yeah,
I'm down. Yeah,
dude, they've successfully turned themselves into actual comic books. It's insane.
It's actual comic books in video form, which is great.
It's crazy. You get your
it's ingestible, and
you get your monthlies.
$4. Yeah, you don't have to spend $4 a month.
Yeah, you get your monthlies, which are like these shows, and then you get your annuals, which are like the movies. It's crazy. Yep. I love it. It's
really
great.
It's really cool. I like what they're doing with it too.
I'm scared that like we're gonna get to a point with these shows that like maybe the quality starts dipping.
I'm thinking that too, like because like Daredevil started to.
Well, Daredevil never got
those. Well, those shows, Iron Fist, like the show quality, because you had what was it? What was the first one? With the detective? No, the detective
Jessica
one.
Jones.
You had Jessica Jones, and that first one was pretty good, and then the second one I hear is not too good.
No.
And then you had Daredevil 2, which was also really good, and then after that it was kind of like everything started going downhill.
Luke Cage season 1 I really liked.
Part 1, Luke Cage, half of Luke Cage. I feel
you didn't like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I didn't like the switch in the villains.
I didn't mind it.
It didn't make sense.
It was kind of weird. He's like, I'm your brother, and it's like, oh, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, it just shows up.
I love it though that those are like canon but not canon. I don't know, it's very confusing, but these shows isn't securely canon. You know what I mean?
What's his name? Cox? What's his name?
That's the rumor. But like,
Isn't he in the new Spider-Man? That would be great.
even in those shows, though, it was like the event. When they were talking about like,
Mm-hmm.
what
Avengers, yeah, the
happened in New
Avengers
York,
movie.
they would just be like the event.
Mm-hmm.
They never like really reference it. These shows are like straight up like, here's fucking Thor, here's fucking Loki. Like it's
Yeah.
You get what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, tangents.
Yeah. I honestly I have no idea where this show is going to end up because they hardly give you anything except for just setup.
Yeah.
I can't really say,
Just kind
and
of exciting.
especially since it's a timeline thing, it can go anywhere and it can do anything. It's a very much in the realm of like Doctor Who, where it's like, yeah, I have this thing that can go anywhere in anything and do anything, and the show will last forever because we have this technology.
Yeah,
We have
it's got some Who vibes for sure. Yeah,
but I'm very much intrigued by it, and if it stays short and to the point, please just keep it up. And I'm really excited for What If though too.
What If's gonna be cool, dude. Like, what if they do it? What if they do it? What if? What if they do like? What if Marvel took place in the Star Wars universe? They could do that. They could do that. What if Luke Skywalker was a member of the Avengers? They could do that if they wanted to.
I don't think they will. I think they'll be like, what if Captain America was black? Or like I think they'll do that.
I think
they
just did that in the last show.
What if Iron Man was a woman?
Yeah,
I think they're just gonna try to get all of the I don't want to say races, but all of the just everybody, all the groups of people. Like,
well, they've announced what some of those things are gonna be. Like, I think one of them was like, what if the Black Panther was evil or something?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What if scenarios?
Yeah, because I feel like confirm the story will show what happened. Oh yeah, it's been confirmed that the first story will show what would have happened if Peggy Carter had taken Super Soldier Serum instead of Steve Rogers. See, what if Steve Rogers was a girl, and what if Loki wielded Mjolnir instead of Thor? That's different. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do a Star Wars crossover, but that'd be epic.
It would be. It'd be really
what
cool.
What if Avatar was Avengers? What if Robert Downey Jr. was the captain of the Titanic?
Do they own the Titanic?
They do. It was a Fox movie.
Oh my god, dude!
It was a Fox movie. Yeah.
Oh man.
Hilarious.
They'd have to add they could add the X-Men in it too. Speaking of Fox,
I think they might. That is something they might do. Someone said I can't remember if it was Feige or not. Yeah, if it was Feige or Favreau, it was one of them, and they were like, "Yeah, whatever we have access to, expect the unexpected." Like they're like, "We're gonna do whatever we want because it's." Doesn't matter. Like, we're just gonna go crazy. So
Star Wars then.
That's why I was like, dude, yeah, the fucking Luke Skywalker was an Avenger. Like, that sounds cool.
What if Iron Man was paraplegic and had lightsabers? Like,
okay, first of all, we already have if Iron Man was paraplegic. His name is War Machine.
That's true. A vegetable. What if he couldn't move? A quadriplegic. That's what it is.
Yeah, just like Christopher Reeves was Iron Man.
I don't know. You get everybody involved. You represent every single kind of person. What if Black Widow was a dwarf?
Yeah. What if?
I mean, I think that's kind of what they're gonna stick with. But yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, Loki's just a setup for now, and super excited to see the next episode because I feel like they'll hone in on what they're actually trying to do on the next one. All right, what's up, you guys? This is This is the spoiler class. This is the class of spoilers, where we
Hell yeah.
introduce the concept of spoilers. This is Spoiler Class 101. I am your professor, Nick, and that is my teacher's assistant, Jake. Today we're going over
Drinking
the
coffee
syllabus.
at 9 p.m. Let's go, baby.
Yep. The syllabus for today includes Loki episode 2. What did you think? What did you think of it?
What did I think of it? Okay.
Yeah. What
Let
did
me
you
break
think?
it down for you.
All right, break it down. All
I'll
right,
give you a quick breakdown.
I'm throwing the show. Throwing the show to you. This is it.
Yeah.
This is what you have the floor.
Beginning.
Students, listen up.
Beginning of the episode. In all honesty, at beginning of the episode, I was not feeling it. Right, like he's talking to the Miss Minute, which I don't get it. The little animated thing. And
oh yeah.
Like some of the dialogue was getting a little cheesy, but then Owen Wilson just kept being Owen Wilson, and like I was like, oh my god! And then like the two of them like started like hanging out more. I'm like, I think I'm falling in love with this show right now. Like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, it really won me over as the show progressed, because like I was like actually intrigued with like who is the person, like how are they gonna do it, how are they gonna, I don't even know. And what really sold it for me, Nick, what really sold it for me, and what really like brought me over to the other side of like really liking this episode from the beginning of the episode where I was like to yeah, this episode ruled, was that conversation they had while like eating lunch. And
at the lunch, yeah,
and they're like,
which one was it? When he's like, let's take a walk, or when he's just like pouring all the salt and
no,
on?
Neither
one of those. Okay.
The one where they're sitting there and they're like, so you really believe in all this, huh?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I mean, like, if you think about it too much, like, where did you come from? And then it was like actually like a discussion of God and like the meaning of life in the MCU. And it's like, yeah, and this all could be bullshit.
And yeah, what does it matter? What the fuck does it matter? Yeah.
I love that scene. That scene was great.
Yes, that was a solid scene. I do have to say I did like the little animated clock.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. It threw me off at first. I'm like, oh, he's watching TV, and I'm like, holy shit, no, he's not. That's actually there.
Yeah.
And like he interacts with it, and it's kind of cheesy, but it's pretty funny. Yeah, it started off kind of goofy, and that like first scene where he's like, he's waiting outside for you, and he's gonna ambush us again, and you guys are all gonna die. I'm like, all right, well, he's obviously lying. Like it obviously was like that's how it was going. It was like, okay, and they just kind of pushed it a little much, and I'm like, okay, is this show gonna be good? Is this show actually like going somewhere? And then as soon as they like started working on the case like a detective kind of comedy, it got really good. And like they go to the Pompeii before the volcano explodes, and he releases all the goats, and he's just like fucking with everybody. He's like, I told you, bitch, this is exactly what would happen. I fucking loved it. There's not a whole lot to say about it because we haven't really learned anything. The way I feel like this show is going is it's just a bunch of questions. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, okay, well, what's going to happen? What could happen? Oh, there's literally anything could happen. We learned who the protagonist is. It's
antagonist.
Antagonist. You're right. We learned who the antagonist is, and it's female Loki. Which
Loki.
I could have pinned it on like literally anybody in the MCU. Like it could be anybody. It's like it doesn't necessarily have to be Loki. And then she takes the hood and she's got the horns, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense.
Well, he did say in the previous episode, it's you.
Right, but how do they even know?
They know because the way they made it seem is like Loki is always causing fucking trouble, and then they showed like all these different variants of Loki, which I really dug, and I hope we get to see some, maybe not those particular ones, but like I hope we get to see some more variants of Loki, because those were great. Like there's the big hulked up one, the big like hulked up yellow one, and then like the one in like I don't know, like there's just a bunch of different.
There's just a bunch of them, yeah. yeah, it was really cool, and I'm really glad at the way that it ended because I'm like, oh shit, he's got some shit that he needs to figure out, and he needs to like. I feel like the show is going the obvious direction of like Loki's the bad guy, and you think he's the bad guy up until the very end, and then he's like, it was all a fucking trick, and I was planning this pretty much from the beginning, and just formulating a plan as we went. Um, yeah, I feel like shit's gonna work out in everybody's favor
Well,
because
it kind of seems like he's already like doing that. He's playing every angle, and that's like Loki's thing. Is like it could go one way, and he'll turn it to make it that his favor or whatever, and it's going another way, and he'll make that work in his favor. Like no matter what, he's gonna make it work in his favor, and
right.
like that's like his thing. I really liked when like she was revealed, Lady Loki,
Hmm.
and it was like she questioned for a minute. She's like, "Is this a better Loki than me? Like
Right. Yeah.
is this Loki?" And
Yeah.
she
Well,
and he's
they
like,
were
"Is
both
she better
doing
than me?"
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because they're like, this could be. I really like that line too, where he's like, "I'd never treat myself like this."
Yeah.
When he's like
Yeah,
getting his
that's
ass whooped. Yeah,
that's a really I've that scene where she's just like switching people and like the voice is coming from different voices is just really cool to me. Like in any sort of I just love scenes like that where it's just like we're not actually talking to that person, but that person is being relayed via somehow,
yeah.
and it was really interesting. And then they switched the characters up, and you could hear it another voice, and I was like, wow, this is actually really well done. Um, yeah, I thought it was great. I'm super excited to see what happens, and like he,
I'm curious to see like because like do you think Lady Loki is actually bad or like because to me it's almost like maybe there's a bigger it almost seems likely that there's some sort of bigger thing out there and Loki are well and she doesn't like to be called Loki but um Loki and what was the name was it like
Randy.
James's
It
Randy.
was Randy.
Yeah, Loki and Randy are gonna work together to defeat like the timekeepers or whatever. But like,
Well,
there, I'm almost under the impression that these timekeepers don't even really exist. I almost feel like it's gonna be like a Wizard of Oz scenario
yeah,
where
I'm thinking the same thing. I'm get
actually the lady in that office is the one running the show.
right.
Actually, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I can totally see that. Or they've been like dead forever. Like the timekeepers just they were a thing, but
Yeah,
they're
now they're
not
dead.
anymore. And so people are just kind of keeping up that facade. Like, what do we live for at this point? What is
Mm-hmm.
our like motivation? Like even Mobius says it. He's like, I have purpose. But if the timekeepers aren't there, what the fuck is his purpose? And I feel like that would be like everybody in the TVA would just kind of crumble and it wouldn't work anymore. Um, so I feel like that could be an instance of it. And I think that it'll be the end of the show as they like get into the throne room or whatever, and there's nobody there. And then
Yeah,
somebody steps up and explains the whole thing. They're like, yeah, they've been dead forever, and we're just trying to keep this timeline going.
my theory, yeah, is like the show's gonna end with like all the timelines sort of just like exploding, and there's gonna be like a bunch of timelines that branch off, and like, and that's gonna lead right into Spider-Man, and then
Hmm.
like that's gonna lead into Doctor Strange, and like they're gonna have to deal with the ramifications of this show. Like I feel like
Yeah.
this show is
Hmm.
gonna have some huge
It's
ramifications.
it's like the stepping stone to the movies. It's
Yeah,
like it gets your tongue wet or your palate wet. It wets your palate rather. Gets your
yeah,
tongue wet. Um, yeah, it gets your palate wet, and you're like, ooh, what's gonna happen next? Because we still got like white, um, I want to say Flash, but that's not right. White Vision is still out there somewhere. Like,
True.
where the fuck is he? I feel like there's a loose end in Bucky and uh, Captain America, and there's definitely going to be some loose ends here for sure, especially with the time split. Even in this episode, like
Yeah.
they like bomb the bomb. I don't know what that means, but they like bomb the what do they call it? The timeline, this very specific timeline that everybody,
Yeah,
the
the
sacred
sacred
timeline.
timeline, yeah.
She like bombs the sacred timeline, and like everything just starts splitting off.
Yeah, I
And
was very confused by like how that works, cuz it's like I thought those bombs were meant to fix things and like get rid of things. And like we have already established that if you make changes during a disaster, like where they were, nothing
there's
would
nothing to
change.
stop it. Yeah,
So her lighting off those bombs, how did that affect the timelines?
it might not have.
But then it went back to the office and it's like look at all these jutting timelines that were happening, you know?
But then again, uh, they they don't see, like, they're not getting any like anomaly detection from like splitting of timelines. So how does that even show up on their computer? I feel like something is just wrong there. It could either be
Well,
um
I mean
just
the implication was that whatever she did caused that to happen. And we'll find
right
out in the next episode.
in one
But
way or another. Maybe it was just like a setup. Excuse me. Maybe it was just like a setup where she made everybody think that it was kind of like splitting off because it's Loki, you know? It could be like, oh shit, we need to get everybody out there to fix the timeline, whereas nothing's wrong with the timelines. Nothing actually happened, and then they just kind of stroll in and take over the place, or whatever you know, her objective is
well,
with what's going on.
she definitely
But
kept that door open long enough for Loki to get in there, right?
yeah,
Like
easily,
she did that on purpose, right?
yeah, yeah. There's no way because she's just like, okay, see you around, I guess. And he's like, fuck that. I'm not staying back there. I'm heading with you. I want to figure out what's going on. But I feel like the reaction that he has with Asgard, where he's like learning that Asgard is like completely destroyed and he starts tearing up and stuff. Like, that's not a trick because it's just him, right? I feel like if that is a trick and he's not actually sad about Asgard blowing up or whatever, then it's a trick on the audience, and that just doesn't feel very good, you
No,
know?
he's sad about it for sure. Like,
So, but he never lived through it. He's just kind of like reading stories about the future that he has not experienced himself.
but like
So I feel like
that's still his, his
his
home,
path, right, right, but
and that's his
the
people, and he wanted to rule over those people, and his brother and
right,
Odin, because he wasn't just crying about Ragnarok, he was also crying about, the death of himself
right,
and his dad, and
and his mom, yeah. But if with that in mind, I feel
you
like
think he's trying to change the path so that doesn't happen?
I think she's trying to change the path. I think that's her goal. Because if they have like the same sort of connection and they've realized like the timeline and they're just like, I need to fix this before shit goes sour for Asgard, um, then it would be in her best interest in the show, in the movie franchise best interest to keep Asgard alive, you know, in one way or another. Um, So I feel like her end goal is to change the timeline so that Asgard survives and is not destroyed by Hela and that demon thing that I don't remember the name of. Um,
Yeah, Crown Man. But like
yeah,
ultimately it was Thor that released him, right? I mean,
well, yeah, because he's like, okay, well, if we don't release him, then she's gonna live and never stop following us. So we have to release him
so
and
we
just
have to kill
say,
9,000 people apparently.
Well, no, the 9,000 people got on board
It said
the space.
9,000 casualties.
Yeah, they got aboard the spaceship, and then
Oh, and then Thanos killed
Purple
them all.
Man shows up and he kills them all. Yeah.
Well, Thanos killed half of them, right? That's his thing.
Well,
Kills
no,
half.
because then he shows up
It's
on the
true.
ship and he kills Loki and all. I'm assuming everybody else. I haven't seen Endgame in a long time, but
No,
yeah,
because they do they make mini Asgard or whatever. Small Asgard.
yeah, on the ship that gets blown up.
But in Endgame, remember they go to
Oh,
mini
yeah, they go to
Asgard.
like the island and
Because
stuff,
that's
and then
Thanos'
yeah,
thing. He kills half of the people, right? So like he killed
right.
half the people on the ship.
Well, then maybe the half that didn't,
So
because
there were
people
20,000 people on
people
that ship.
still died. Like even
Yeah.
like the people who were physically killed by uh
These
by
are so
Thanos
semantics.
still died. Right? The people who physically were killed by Thanos still died. The people who were blipped came back. So if you died in the time of the blip, you're dead. You don't come back, you know? So maybe like half of the people came back and
But that
they're
was
like,
pre-blip.
was it?
Yeah, that's an Infinity War.
Well, then they're all dead.
No, half of
Except
them.
for like, no.
He killed half of them. They say that, I'm pretty sure, in the movie, where it's like they killed half the Asgardians or whatever.
I don't know. We're gonna have to rewatch it. Anyway, we're not talking about Infinity War or Endgame. We're talking about Loki and
I mean, it's all connected. To me, Lady Loki, right? And,
mhm,
just for lack of a better term, that's what I'm going to call her for right now.
Randy.
Yeah, Randy. Randy just feels like a convenient way to recast Tom Hiddleston. And, like, it's fine. It's the same Loki, different actor, but it's the same Loki, you know?
What you
Uh,
think he wouldn't do like more Loki shit? You think they're trying to recast Loki?
he's done how many movies now?
Quite a bit. But I
To
think he
he's
enjoys it.
done like 5, 6 movies. Yeah, but at a certain point, he's gonna keep asking for more, and Marvel's gonna be like, "Well, we could just recast." And you did 6, you got your money. Go do what you want to do. You know.
True.
At a certain point, it seems like over. No one's done over 6 movies, right? Like,
Iron Man.
yeah, he's it. They did 3 of those, and then he was in
Well, 6
Civil.
movies. That's a pretty low number though for the Marvel because I think Captain America, Chris Evans,
Mm-hmm.
has done more than that because he did all of the Avengers, which is 4 right there. Then he has the 3 on his own. He's got uh, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and
Civil War.
Civil War. So, that's still quite a bit. That's 7 for most of the characters.
But that's
Thor's
for
got 7 as well.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But like, Jane Foster feels like the same thing, where it's like, hey, this is a pretty good way to recast Thor and still have Thor, but like now it's a new Thor.
who's Jane Foster?
Jane
Oh,
Foster.
the chick who's like running New Asgard.
No,
Except
no, 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 no. That's Valkyrie. No, no, no. Jane Foster was Natalie Portman, who was Thor's girlfriend in the Thor movies, played by
right.
Natalie Portman. They're bringing her
Uh-huh.
back. She's gonna be Thor in this new movie. She's gonna be Lady Thor. It's
What?
called Thor: Love and Thunder. It's based off the comics, dude. Jane Foster turns into Thor.
Huh.
Like it's a thing that happens.
I never read
That's
Thor really.
that's what
Um,
the new movie is. Yeah, it's
oh,
Jane
interesting.
Foster. Yeah,
But then he's also with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah, yeah. Who knows?
So
Maybe, maybe.
they're doing like 2 separate things with that. It's
Yeah, but Thor
interesting.
Thor comes out before Guardians, so maybe it
Oh,
was
okay.
just like they were chit chatting, fucking around, and then he's like, "Okay, just kidding, guys. I gotta go." You know?
And then he's like, "Okay, I'm back to
Yeah.
fuck up your day." Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I don't know if I like that, but we'll see.
I mean, we'll see. They'll make it
If
work
it
out.
if it works in the timeline, it'll be fun. But
I think initially they wanted another Guardians, but then all that shit with James Gunn happened, you know?
yeah,
All that drama. Now he's making Suicide Squad. Anyway, Loki, I thought was cool. I don't really have much more to say other than um, the
it's
timeline shit
intriguing.
doesn't make sense, but I appreciate that, like, in the show, they're like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Don't think about it too hard. And
Yeah,
that's what won me over on the show was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. And it never will. So
it
stop trying
never
to make
will.
it make sense, you
Yeah,
know?
it could be canonical. It could be completely bullshit. It doesn't matter. It's all in time, and it doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I did really like that scene though. It was very like, what is existence?
Yeah, it was the
And
best scene in the show for sure. And then
and
like
and
Owen Wilson just like continually being like, "Oh wow, isn't it crazy that we're just out here in space doing crazy things together?"
it's crazy, and all you really need is purpose, and that's it. That's all
He's
you need.
he's lying.
Ka-chow! Oh,
he's
ka-chow!
he's lying. You almost got me there. Wow.
Wow!
Oh
Wow!
wow.
You almost pulled the wool over my eyes there.
That,
Wow!
that's crazy. Wow. Isn't it
I love
crazy?
I love Owen
We're
Wilson,
just
dude.
out here in a timeline that doesn't make much sense.
Just give in to the tea. Give in to the power of the tea.
I've never even been to Mount Vesuvius.
I've never even been to Mount Vesuvius. Damn, dude. Owen Wilson, what a guy.
Mm-hmm.
What a guy. He's the
I love
same
him.
character in everything,
Yo,
but
what if
he's
there's a variant? There's a variant of Owen Wilson, and it's Luke Wilson.
hmm. That does bring up a question about like what would happen if
How
there's
do
like
they
a
exist?
variant. Yeah,
Like
that's kind
you
of what
know,
I'm
like are there variants of them? Are they part of
where do
the
they
sacred
exist?
timeline, or are they
Yeah,
not part of the sacred timeline?
it
Are
doesn't
they
matter.
variants themselves? Are they all Loki? You know,
Is it all an illusion created by Dormammu
you're
to
living in an
summon
illusion.
all of the sorcerers of the planet to to a duel of the minds?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a comic, by the way, but it's a really cool one. Um,
Rustolium 1. Oh my god, my dad's in the comments.
oh my goodness, look at this man. Look at this man. I
um,
love this man.
yeah, I don't know. Loki, pretty cool. I mean,
I like it.
pretty cool.
I
Pretty cool.
feel like I feel like whereas like Falcon and Winter Soldier had the punch like every episode, there was like something that
Action,
happens. It
action
would yeah, it
packed.
was just like this happens. And it's like, wow, that was a good episode. We can talk about a lot and unpack a lot. Loki, I feel on the other hand is like, well, we're just gonna have to wait and fucking see.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just gonna like we
Well,
don't really know what's going on. We can say what we saw, but like what are our interpretations is, it's like it could be anywhere at this point, you
well,
know?
there is one theory, right? So the one of the timekeepers, right, and the one that's seated right behind the lady in the office. I forget her name, right? He apparently looks a lot like the villain that's supposedly gonna be in that new Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, which
Oh, really?
I can't remember the name of the villain. I know this is not very good. This isn't very insightful. But yeah, apparently he looks like the villain that's going to be an Ant-Man and the Wasp, and apparently he has a wife in the comics, so everyone's like, "Oh, maybe she's his wife." And like that's the connection, but who fucking knows? I don't know, man.
I mean, everything in the Marvel universe is connected in
I mean,
some way.
there's 60 years of comics, like you can make any sort of connection you want, and then they're
Hmm.
going to be like, "No, it doesn't." The one thing that like really like it intrigues me about that theory is that he does look exactly like him with
Does
like the
he?
weird like yeah he
Hmm.
looks exactly like him.
Is it like the new Ant-Man and Wasp coming out, or like the newest one that did come out?
The new one that's coming out. Let me see if I can. Let me see. Ant-Man, isn't it called something weird? And the
I
Quantumania.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know, dude. I
They're
know.
getting bad. They're getting bad. Wakanda forever. Like,
Yeah. Uh,
come on.
Ghost? I don't know, man.
It's
I
not
don't know.
Ghost. Ghost was the second one. Ant-Man, Wasp, third villain.
Maybe if I typed in Quantumania Loki, I'll just find it. Ant-Man and the Wasp star Jonathan Majors plays Koi on rumors about. Oh, Kang, of course. Yeah, Kang.
Hang,
Yeah. Who?
not Khan.
Yeah, Kang.
Hang, the Conqueror.
And apparently, Jonathan Majors was cast a long time ago for this movie that's not supposed to come out till next year, which makes everyone go, well, then he's in Loki. You know? He was cast forever ago. Like, he's probably in the
Yeah,
show. It's very believable. And he does, if you look up Kang, he looks just
I'm
like one of
looking at
those
him right now.
he looks like one of those timekeepers.
He does have that like time lord sort of look, doesn't he? What a weird poll though. Like if that's true, that's such an obscure poll.
Is
You
it?
know? I feel like it is. I've never heard
Kang,
of him.
Kang is like one of the bigger bads, but like, there's only so many that you could pull from, We've already done so many of the villains, you know?
Yeah.
Who else is there? Oh, what was the store they were at? Roxxon, right? Or Rocksmart. That was
Yeah.
a nice little callback to Iron Man 2.
Was it?
Yeah, because Roxxon was like the competitor of Stark Industries, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then they're like ruining the whole world or whatever. Dude, did you see the dates on like all of the apocalypses that happen when they're going through the apocalypse? They're going through them in like chronological order. It's like, well, it can't be this of this year. It can't be this of this year. And all of them are within like the next 20 years.
I feel
And
like
it's like there's
that
15 of them and it's like what is going to happen? Like holy shit, the world just goes to shit
I
in the
feel like
next
that
20
was
years.
I kind of felt like that was a political statement almost.
Yeah, for sure.
I felt like that was like, hey, our planet's totally messed up and global warming is real, so there's going to be a lot of catastrophes in the next few years. I felt like that was a political statement.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it though. It was kind of like, holy hell.
but
Holy hell.
Roxxon was like a callback to Justin Hammer, which Justin Hammer, not dead. He's not dead. He could show up again.
I don't know who Justin Hammer is.
Oh, dude, we got to watch Iron Man 2 soon.
That's the only one I don't remember.
Dude, he's great. He's the best part of that movie.
Justin. Is that the one where all like the suits come alive and they're all like shooting at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a great movie, but he's great in that movie. Okay, because that movie is it's ruined by Whiplash. Because they're like, we need a big villain.
To watch it. I
we need
do
a big
not
villain
remember this.
Yeah,
I'm looking at pictures and I'm like, I don't remember this man, but
he's great, dude. He's great. He does a little dance.
No,
it's great.
Making a little love.
Yeah.
Get down tonight.
But I'm sure you remember Whiplash though.
I do. The stupid guy right at the beginning who's just like whipping and lashing, and
this was a very tangent heavy episode, wasn't it?
It sure was.
I want to ask one
Loki,
question.
Son of Odin, Prince of Asgard.
Thanks.
Bet you are.
Thanks, Rusty. I want to ask you one question though.
I'll answer this one question.
Are we gonna see Steve Rogers?
No,
in this fucking show.
We are not going to see Steve Rogers in this show.
Steve Rogers in this show, man. We gotta see Steve Rogers.
Why?
Because he's taking the stones back. This show has everything to do with timelines and like.
Apparently, that was supposed to happen, though.
Yeah, but like, I want to see Steven Rogers.
You saw him at the beginning.
Stephen Rogers.
Rogers.
Steven Rogers.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Steph Raj.
Dude, I love the quotes that Rust-Oleum 1 has given us. It's
Every villain is a
fantastic.
hero in his own mind. Every hero is a villain in his own mind. That was in the new episode of Loki. Very good line, too.
It was. It was
That is
very good.
a very good line delivered by Lady Loki, said that? Or was that Loki Loki?
No, I think that was just Loki.
I think it was.
I think he was just like talking in the elevator with oh wow,
Oh,
Lightning
wow. I'm
McQueen.
Owen Wilson.
I'm
Wow. It's
Lightning
crazy.
McQueen.
Everything here is just, it's wild. It's insane.
Oh,
Wow.
oh wow. Oh
Oh,
wow.
ka-chow. Wow.
Oh, good job.
Oh wow. Rusty is just like on Wikipedia and it's like here's famous quotes from Loki.
It's just like well, that's gonna wrap it up for us. We've talked about this and gone on a fucking tangent for too long.
A
I
perfect
like this
amount of
show.
time, I'd say.
I know. It was a good amount of time. I like the way Marvel set up because we can go on tangents and it's still relevant.
Yeah,
I
everything's
like
relevant.
that. I love that. They've done a really good job creating the universe. But so far, I like the show. It's probably right there on par with WandaVision for me. It's not quite as good as like Falcon Winter Soldier, but it has potential to be better or worse. It could be either way.
So for me, much like WandaVision, this show has that comic book shit, That's like
Mm-hmm.
it's fantastical, it's wild, and that's what I really like in comic books. And like Captain America like felt more it's still comic books, but
Realistic.
yeah, they
Yeah.
wanted it to be more grounded, which that's cool
It
too.
works for those characters.
Yeah, it's cool too, but I like the more fantastical stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think WandaVision definitely had that punch though, like
Right at the beginning. Yeah.
those first few episodes, really up until the last episode. That show is fantastic. So this
Yeah.
show took me a minute. It wasn't until like halfway through this episode that I was like, okay, I'm in. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So it's only up from here. Fingers
hopefully,
crossed. Anyway.
hopefully we'll
Fingers
see.
crossed.
We'll see. The jury still out.
Yeah, they're on the lunch break, so they won't be back for another like 6 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, because it's 6 episodes, so we're a third through the show.
Yeah. They got a lot. They have to do a lot of shit to pick it up. Anyway, hello boyos. This is the Spoilercast.
This
for Loki.
is the story of a girl.
This is the Spoilercast, where we discuss everything.
Hold on,
Loki.
stop. The DMCA is gonna strike us for that one.
Well, they can suck my bald butt. They
Bald
can suck
butt.
my bald butt. Yeah, I don't know how the fuck we're gonna talk about this episode. It's just a continue. It's like straight up a continuation, and like they go through the door and they end up in the TVA, right? And they're fighting in the TVA, and then they get in trouble, and Loki activates like this thing, and he travels to another another timeline. Where did he get the thing? Did
What
anybody
thing?
say the little thing that they're trying to fix this whole episode?
Didn't he just have that?
But where? How did he? I don't remember him getting that.
Didn't he just have it? Because he worked for them?
I guess, but why would they give him that?
Or it was the girls, right? That she
As she
collapsed.
dropped it?
Yeah, and like he took it. Yeah,
It could be.
pretty sure. I don't know, man. Like a TV show being a continuation of the previous episode seems like a pretty normal thing to do.
Well, I was just, I don't know, I was just setting that up, but like I was just setting it up. We continued
Yeah.
on, and there was a door, and then they went through it, and I was just kind of refreshing my memory. Don't jump on me like that, man. I'm tired.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway, yeah. So then that happens, and then it's just kind of like a journey. It's like the first episode of Rick and Morty with Rick and Morty
Sort of.
being Loki and Lady Loki trying to fix their thing because they can't get back to um their time, I suppose. And they end up in this like what was the place called?
Lamentus, yeah.
Lamentus 1, which apparently is a moon that people are living on, and the planet of Lamentus is like crashing into the moon.
Well, I think they live on the planet, but the planet is still gonna crash into the moon.
Is that how it is? Okay. Well, either way, they're on a big orb in space, and another big orb in space is crashing into them, and gonna destroy the whole thing. So they set like a timeline. They have to find like this power source because it loses charge. So they're like, hey, we're on this rock. There's got to be a power source somewhere over here. So then they go and search for a power source. And I actually really like these two together, almost more than I like um, Owen Wilson and what's his face? I forget the Loki.
Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston. I almost like them together more so than the other two.
It's
Because they just
it's interesting you say that because the entire episode I was like, man, I just wish this was Owen Wilson.
really,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know,
I mean,
man.
so like, hear me out. Hear me out. I really like them together. I actually found the idea of the two of them, like, you know, they're both Lokis, assuming they're both Lokis, and
Mhm.
you know, she goes by Sylvie, I guess. But
How do
like,
we? That's another thing. When the fuck do we learn that
what?
that she goes by Sylvie?
She says it in the episode,
When? What?
like
What?
pretty early on. She
Because she's like,
says
I
she's
remember
straight up.
she's like, "Don't call me one of those. Don't. I'm
Yeah.
not one of those, or
And
whatever."
then she's like, I go by Sylvie. She straight up says it in
Uh,
this show.
Oh, I must not have caught that.
Yeah.
Must not have caught that. I probably was looking up what Lamentus 1 was.
No,
Um,
no, I like them together. Like, I like the idea of them. Like, they have like good chemistry, and like I like the like back and forth where she's more combat and he's more like theatrical and like let's
mhm.
sneak in, and I like that dynamic. And like I
And
like that they're both kind of fucking up constantly. It's not just one Loki or the other. They both kind of are just fucking up constantly. Because
yeah,
like specifically with that one scene with the old lady in the desert
yeah,
on the moon.
with her like push ray or whatever.
Yeah, her like boom boom ray or whatever. But like, yeah, like she tries brute force, and she's like, oh, I really like doing that, and he's like, I like that you did it too. And like that was just like
Yeah,
that was funny.
it was.
I
There was a lot of funny moments in this episode, honestly. Like because they play off of each other so well. I think the actors are just like, they know the roles, and they're just like, okay, well, I'm gonna say this, you're gonna say this, and we're gonna do it perfectly. Um, I really oh shit,
you
I
lost light.
lost, I lost. There we go. Um, that was weird. My whole monitor turned off.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So I thought it was really cool. There's a couple of parts that I'm like, did that really happen? Because in this show, a lot of the times I feel like I'm questioning everything because it's Loki, and it's like, okay, where's he's got Mr. X, but what is he actually doing? What is he
Right.
actually trying to do? And I feel like they show it, but then again, it's not clear enough to be like, oh, that's what the misdirect was. Like for instance, in this one, she falls asleep and it cuts to black, and then she wakes up and he is dancing in the train,
He's partying, yeah.
like yeah, he's just partying with everybody because apparently he's drunk.
He's full.
But yeah, and it's just like,
I'm gonna use that forever now too.
yeah,
I'm full.
he's really really full.
How you feeling? How you feel? Are you okay to drive? No, I'm a little too full right now.
I'm a little full.
A little
I'm
too
a little
full.
full. I shouldn't drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at that point, I'm like, something happened. Something within that blackness had to have happened because there's no way. There's no way that he was just drinking so much that he just started dancing with everybody, and everybody knows the lines of the songs, and they're just kind of letting him do this.
Well, my thought process was that, you know, so I have a couple thoughts with the whole misdirection, like you're saying. I have a few different theories in my head, right? One of my theories is, she fell asleep and he's just a fucking Asgardian, and that's what they do. I mean, because like he straight up references like, I think it's the first Thor movie where Thor gets like a coffee with Jane, and he's like another, and like throws the coffee on the ground, and he does that, and like it just seems like Asgardians just get drunk and party, like Thor downs a beer like quickly. And, they're on this mission. They're probably going to die. And he's like, I'm going to get drunk. Fuck it. But then there's also this theory in my head where I'm like, I don't know if any of this is real. Because at the beginning of the fucking episode, right, we see her hanging out with What's-Her-Butt, having drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it turns out like she's actually doing some sort of mind manipulation. And my thought is like, maybe she's doing that to Loki right now. But while they're doing that in the brain, he's so fucking good that he's fucking with her inside of his own brain. Because like the fact that he had like the broken thing and like he ended up breaking it just all seems a little too convenient.
Right. And then he gets thrown out of the thing like super easily. It's like it looked like he kind of wanted to be thrown out of it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a great theory because I could see that because like he's like
they're
starts a
both
fight
fucking with each other because they're both Loki,
Right. Yeah, I could see that.
But like, I liked this episode a lot. This was sort of a self-contained episode where it's like its own adventure. But like, I liked it a lot because it really introduced this character who we haven't seen. The show's halfway over, so we really needed a full episode just to introduce ourselves to this character and also set up what's going to happen in the future, because she drops some pretty heavy shit, like the fact that everyone at the TVA or TBA or whatever the fuck they're called, everyone there is a variant, right?
Yeah.
And I called that from the beginning.
I knew that for sure.
Yeah, I called that from the beginning.
The fact is that they don't remember is kind of like, ooh, so somebody out there is pulling the strings and this is an illusion of some sort.
She also said this is years in the making. So like, she may have been one of them and had broken free. They may all be Lokis for all we fucking know, right? And like, will Owen Wilson get his water jet moment,
Yes.
That's the real question.
Yes, he will. He'll get on a jet ski for sure.
But like, yeah, and she drops more things, just like finding out like sort of the differences between the two of them. She never really fully reveals anything about herself. But like, he mentions like, oh, I was adopted. And she's like, oh, yeah, I knew that. And he's like, you knew that? And I thought that was just sort of a funny little back and forth, which also proves to me that she is a Loki for sure. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it was just a cool episode. I liked it a lot. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills every time I read the reviews online and people are like, I didn't like this episode. I'm like, what? I thought this episode was great.
Yeah, it was super good. It was different. It's so different and interesting. I feel like when I finish this, I'm going to rewatch it. I don't do that. I don't rewatch TV shows, but I feel like as soon as it finishes, if it finishes well, then I'm going to be like, okay, now what the hell, knowing what I know, what the hell is going on now?
Rusty's back in the comments.
Is he?
Owen Wilson is greatest actor of all time. Correct.
I don't know.
Oh wow, isn't he just amazing? Wow, he's just fabulous. Wow,
he's the best car of all time.
That Hansel, he's so hot right now.
Yeah.
He wasn't even in this episode, so
no, he wasn't.
I wonder. Okay, first of all, what I was gonna say was like, I did have some issues with this episode as far as like visually. Like, some of the visuals were fucking top notch and really cool. Some of them are like, ooh, it's kind of ugly. And like it goes back to that first episode where I'm like, when they were standing in the giant thing,
Mm-hmm.
like the green screen was ugly. I felt that in this episode too, where I'm like, when they were standing in like the vast purple world, it was kind of like ugly and gross looking. But like when they got to the main city area, I thought that looked pretty cool.
So
Um,
the main city was like the first instinct that I had with the main city was like it was Toontown from Disneyland's Toontown, but a bunch of neon. Like it was kind of like Blade Runner cross Toontown because you have all these funky shapes and stuff. It was very cool, but it felt cartoony to me, and all the characters felt really cartoony. Like the background characters, all their like suits were just kind of goofy and
yeah,
like
but it's like 2077 space, and it's
yeah,
Marvel, and
but like okay, the world's breaking down and these guys are like in a shop and they're just trying to run away and then these guards come out of
that
nowhere
was
and just
yeah.
start beating them up and it's
Isn't
like
that weird?
why
Yeah,
are
why
these
would
guys
they even
beating them up? Like
why would they even be chasing them? It's like, dude, you're gonna die. Like, yeah, I did have that thought as well. Like, what? Why even? But I can't tell if it's because they just wanted action in this episode, or if it's because of my theory where, they're not
it's not
actually
it's not
there,
real.
you
Yeah.
know? And like I feel like in the next episode, they're gonna tell us a lot of shit in the next episode. For sure.
I mean, I would hope so.
Yeah,
They
there's only three
literally
left.
they really haven't told us much. There's only 3 left. This is a 6th episode. I thought it was 8.
6.
Wow. Um, they
But
haven't told us much. They just keep like giving us
little
like a little nugget and
yeah.
then more questions. Like a
It's
little something and more questions. It was like, okay,
I feel like
well,
this is all stuff that can be answered relatively quickly though. So like I feel like the
right,
way it's unraveling is totally fine with me. Like
right.
and like my theory as well for what's happening and why like Lady Loki or Sylvie the city was so cool. I agree, mischievous vixen. Um but like the reason I think that they're doing or what she's doing, I can't speak. The reason she's doing what she's doing is because maybe she believes that there should be a multiverse. Because ultimately, isn't what the TVA is doing just going in and massacring a full universe? Isn't that what
Yeah,
they're doing? So,
yeah.
like,
They're
maybe her thought process is like, no, there should be a multiverse. Just full on, like, let there be a multiverse. Let it happen. Like, that's the way it should be. And
right,
I feel like that's where it's headed. Is the end of this season is going to be like, yep, multiverse is a go. Everything goes. It also makes a lot of sense for Marvel now that we're like, you know, 15 years in and like, or like 13 years in or whatever, and like 26 movies in. It's like harder and harder to keep the cast around. Now it's
yeah.
like, well, we've got like Ultimate Universe Spider-Man here now, and like we can
Hmm.
recast Tony Stark now because it's,
It's
the ultimate dimension now, and it's different, and you can bring him to this dimension because you could just, it makes things a lot easier for them if they just open up the multiverse and let it go ham.
it's future proofing.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
it's kind of like what Logan did for X-Men if they
And then
continue
they
on
didn't
with it.
take advantage of it. Those
Well,
weirdos.
they still might though.
No, 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 no.
You don't think so?
No, no. The Fox universe is dead.
No.
Yeah. That's
I guess that's true
yeah,
because it's
that's
sold to Disney.
it's dead. But with the multiple timelines, we may see some of them come back. Like, hey, the Fox universe does exist within the MCU. It's just a different dimension, right? And that may
Right.
be how they introduce Deadpool as well, because that's already confirmed.
Is
So
it?
yeah, Deadpool 3 is in production right now.
Oh, well, Deadpool 3 is in production, but does it have anything to do with the MCU?
They haven't really said.
Oh, okay. See, I
Yeah,
think that's just going to be its own thing for a while. But it
sure,
would be really fucking
but
great if we got
like,
a Deadpool Spider-Man combo with
like Deadpool's so self-aware that they're gonna make references to it in it anyway.
right. Yeah. he's gonna be like, timeline shifting, what? Like,
Yeah.
I used
Or
to work
he's
for the TVA, you
or
know?
he's gonna be like, "Hey, I thought we were a Fox movie or something," like,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but I liked all the scenes between them. Like, I really liked the scene where they were like just chit chatting,
Yeah,
and
chit-chatting on the train for
and
sure.
there's also like a sort of weird like sexual tension between them, I think, which is weird because they're like the same
The
person,
same
and
person.
it's like,
But dude,
what are the
wouldn't
implications of that? But like, yeah, would it?
wouldn't you? Like,
Yeah, sort of. But is that like incestuous? I don't.
is it?
I don't know. I don't know. It's
It's
kind of
just
a weird.
yourself.
It's kind
It's
of
just
weird. Is it
yourself.
just jerking off? What if you impregnated yourself? What would that mean for?
Fuck.
What would that mean?
I don't think that could happen.
I
I
don't
don't I
know.
don't I don't know.
Yeah, it's these are the questions that will never get answered by Marvel either. I did appreciate that they're both bi. God bless.
I don't see. I don't understand why that's a thing. I saw this on Twitter. The director of of the series is like, um, blah blah blah. Loki's bi, and I think that's really important to his characters. And I wanted to like
Sure.
put that out there. But for me, it's always like, why is that unnecessary? Like in this story, why is that a necessity to have a
Why is it
sexuality?
why is it a necessity that Steve Rogers has Peggy Carter? Well, I mean, like, why is it a necessity that
Because it moves the
Tony
story
Stark
along.
is a womanizer? Why is it a necessity that we know Falcon probably
Right,
fucks?
right,
Like,
right. But that's what I'm saying though. Like
or
Tony
that
Stark's
or that
Tony
Clint has
Stark's
a
a
wife and
womanizer.
kids. Like it's important to his character just to know like this guy fucks everyone, dude. Like, and he
But
just does whatever. That's who he is. It's cool.
but like Tony Stark's a womanizer. That is part of his character. That is who he's built on. Whereas Loki, I feel like he's Loki for now. Like he's Loki and he's always been Loki. And then it's just like, and by the way, he's bi, just haphazardly just saying like, he has sex with men and women. And it's
I
like
don't even think
that's cool, but like I don't feel like it does anything with the story. Like is it really necessary to
there's
railroad a
scenes, but
character into
railroad a character. There's always fucking scenes in movies where it's like, oh, you have a girl back at home, and it's like, no, and it's not a big deal. And that's the same with this. They didn't even make it a big deal. He's just like, yeah, I go both ways.
right,
I suspect you do too. And it wasn't
right,
even like a huge deal. And that's the
right.
point. He's a bi character. Just like if you had a gay character, you'd probably mention it. Like,
Because it would be part of the character, like it would be part of the story to move forward, and it's connecting to that character. But the
why
when
is
I
bi
first
not being connected to the character?
no, in this situation it is. I'm just saying I saw on Twitter that it's like, hey, and I made Loki bi. The
Well, it's
director's
important because they were talking to each other because they're flirting and shit. And she's like, "Yo, you want to fuck or what?" And he's like, "I fuck both ways, dude." Like, I don't understand. I don't get what the issue is here.
there's no issue. I'm just saying I just didn't understand why it needed to be, expressed as like a big deal, because it really isn't a big
Because bi
deal.
representation is not a thing in media ever. That's why.
I guess it's represented in history books,
Sure,
but
yeah, for sure.
but
We're all
yeah,
bi. I mean, let's face it.
yeah. If there's a dude hot enough, I'd fuck him. Um, I get why Nick thinks it shouldn't be a big deal, but that's the point. But it should be mentioned and also not big perceived as a big deal. It's just more clarification on his backstory.
Right, yeah.
Sexuality is important, especially when it comes to the god of mischief.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm saying. Maybe I'm coming off a little aggressive, but like,
you're always coming off
I know that's
aggressive.
kind of my thing, and I apologize if that's the case.
I think in the show they did it really well, because it
Right.
was just like,
Maybe you should have
it's
prefaced with that.
right. I should have. You're right. You're absolutely right. But what was I saying? You got like Roman gods, and the Roman gods were all crazy. You think of Zeus, and Zeus like was like pansexual or whatever the fuck he was. Like he just did everything. So you look at like Loki and Thor and stuff, and it's like they're fucking like Roman gods. You know, I'm sure they don't give a shit. They're pretty much aliens. So what does it really matter? Um,
Yeah. I mean, like, but I think that's the point of like mentioning that he's bi, and the point of being like, I suspect you are too. Who gives a fuck? Is
yeah,
like important to his character. He doesn't give a
right.
fuck about that, and nor should anyone else. And that's kind of the point, you know, like why even care? And that would be an important character trait. And you know, I don't know.
I don't see. I don't see it as important unless it has something to do with the story. At least unless it has a spot in the story. Like if you're just like, this is a story about cars and the driver's gay, it's like, who cares? Why? What does that have to do with anything? Like this is a story about cars. Like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm not explaining it very well. But
I don't know. Like people, I don't know. Like sometimes in movies, someone, I don't know. Like you see a character brushing his teeth, and you're like, why even show that they brush their teeth? Like that's not even important to the
yeah,
story.
yeah,
It's
yeah. It's
it's a
that same
character
sort of
element.
situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a character element. It's a character descriptor. Same as
Oh,
like
I brush my teeth too.
yeah.
You know, me and this character are the same person.
uh,
I get it. I get it, but it's just I really didn't want to make a big deal about it, and we made a big deal about it, and that's exactly my point. Is like, why the fuck are we making a big deal about it? But it's it's
I
something
just
that
said it was
happened.
cool, man.
It is cool.
Yeah.
I'm totally for it, but and they did a good job.
He's
That's
he's
all I gotta
a
say.
he's a gay icon. God bless him. That's
Anyway, let's get back to the actual show after that huge fucking tangent.
I'm
Um,
sorry. I'm sorry. I came off heavy.
so at the end, what do you think? What the fuck is going to be the next episode?
Okay. Um I don't know. I think the next episode we're probably gonna either find out that yeah, she's in his brain. I really like the way it ended with her walking off into the crowd. You know, like she's just like, ah, fuck. And she just walked away. Like I like that. Um
Do you think they actually die? Like, it seems to me like,
they could yeah, they could just kill him and like then the show just starts over.
like I don't know what that would be like if a variant dies outside of his timeline, right? Would it be like
The whole thing is
nor
confusing because there has to be branching timelines unless the TVA is straight up just yeah massacring entire timelines. Um, because if they're all variants, then that would create branches, right? And we've
right?
seen like hundreds of these dudes in
Oh
that
yeah,
they've got a whole civilization there of different variants, and the fact that Loki is still gone from his timeline, doesn't that mean that
there's another time.
there's a
Yeah,
splitting off timeline from his
so
universe?
they killed that whole timeline
Right.
forward, so he just doesn't.
And I don't know, it's all a bit confusing. But
But
like I think that happens when you deal with
time,
multiverses and time travel because this is not just a multiverse. This is
right?
also time travel.
Right. So it's like time travel is already confusing, and if you watch anything about time travel, like I'm gonna bring it back to Harry Potter again, but the third Harry Potter movie where she's got like the little time necklace thing, it's like, wait, what the fuck happened? How did this? So this has been going on forever. Like it's literally just continuing over and over again. Um, and it just doesn't make sense once you think about it. I think it's going to be the same sort of situation, but then you also have the layer of multiverse as well. So it's like just super confusion on top of confusion, you know? Um, but what I think is going to happen in the next episode is I think the TVA are going to find him and pull him back. maybe not Sylvie. Was that her name? Is that what they
Yeah,
call her, Sylvie?
yeah.
But maybe just Loki, and they'll be like, well, she's dead anyway, and then it'll pop back up that she's not actually dead. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to make predictions because I have no fucking clue. Like, like if her whole goal is what I was saying, where she like wants there to be a multiverse, like, could we see Steve Rogers? Because she could. That's something Steve Rogers could get behind too, where he's like, and she's like, "Hey, don't put those back, because I think maybe we should have these altering timelines, huh?" You know what I mean?
I guess. I
And
don't
then
know.
that would also explain how Steve Rogers became an old man with Peggy Carter's, because like, wouldn't that create a branching timeline?
It would.
And that's never explained either, and that has
But
to be explained at some
see,
point.
but then that's the TVA going, okay, we're following Steve Rogers' new timeline, and we're just cutting bits out of the main timeline and moving them around. You know?
Can they do that?
I don't
Is
know.
that what they do?
No, I don't think this whole thing is even real. I think it's something else. I think it's like a trap built for Loki or something, and it's just going to be all a dream or whatever. Not necessarily a dream. It could be an illusion or something. And then it'll end with like a big bad looking at Loki going, how the fuck was that? And Loki going, what the fuck did you do to me? And he's like, do you want to know more? And Loki's like, yeah, yeah, I want to know more. You know, um, it could all be in his head. Who knows? Like it doesn't necessarily even have to be um a thing. Like it could just have started and ended, and then this is just extra that we're seeing.
It's just
Yeah, I don't
extra.
know. It's just
Yeah,
extra. It's
like
just
maybe
like,
this is a side tangent, and then like at the end he just goes right back to where he was. I suspect that's how the show will end, and he'll have to like live his whole life. And the Loki we knew was that Loki the whole time. I don't know, man.
and then
There's
he dies.
and then
He
yeah,
just
'cause he's
knows he
like that's
died.
the
There's
way it
no,
was meant to
there's
be.
no way that
I
would
don't know,
happen
man.
because
It's
like
so
you see your
confusing.
death and he'd be like, okay, well I'm prepared for this, and then he kills the end game timeline because he's like he's prepared for Thanos coming around, and he's just like, no, I'm gonna stab you in the back instead, and he kills Thanos instead of Thor killing Thanos.
You think he's gonna like change that? I don't know.
Maybe it's
It's
so
it's
confusing.
all so confusing, and like I feel like even if they could explain it, it's still gonna be like what, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I have no fucking clue. This show's hard to really
The show,
understand.
the show is
And
hard.
you know, Rick and Morty, right? Like Rick and Morty does the whole dimensional travel thing, and
Hmm.
Dan Harmon has like talked about it. He's like, you know, we did dimensional travel. You know, it's a spoof on um, Back to the Future, right? But like, we didn't want to do time travel because time travel is so confusing.
Right.
And they decided to go with time travel. I feel like it would have been a lot better if they had not even fucked with time travel and it was all just a bunch of different dimensions, but they're all moving at the same pace of time. You know what I mean? Like Rick and
Hmm.
Morty. Um,
Right.
but the time travel bit, but they introduced time travel in Endgame. So
An
like,
end game. Yeah.
yeah, and it's never not going to be confusing, even though they're like the timelines, but then they've really mucked it up with this show where it's like, well, there's a sacred timeline, but
So
it's
all of these points that they keep getting to, all of these disasters and Armageddons that they keep getting at, you think each one of these like disasters
rusty.
is on the sacred timeline?
Rusty.
What about Brittany? Is she truly been under conservat conservatorship, or is she a variant?
I think there's probably a variant of Britney. Yeah. And here's the real question, Nick. Are we part of the MCU?
Yes, we
Technically,
are.
yes.
Technically, we are.
Yeah.
I don't remember how, but yes.
I don't know, man.
Um, well, back to what I was saying. Like, are all of these events that we're seeing on the sacred timeline, are they happening in just different times on this timeline? Or are they like a different dimension, like a different timeline, a different,
I,
like in the sacred
I
timeline,
want
does
to
this
insert that meme of the kid that's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
um yeah. Like I don't know. There's so many questions and I don't think they're going to answer them in three
No.
more episodes.
But it does seem like this is setting up like the future of the MCU, where like the whole future of the MCU is gonna be this confusing fucking time shit and dimensional. Maybe not time. I think they're gonna stop fucking with time real quick. But like
Oh yeah.
the fucking with dimensions, I think is gonna get weird. I think they're
Well,
fucking with time in this show just so they can set up the different dimensions. And then they're like, let's never touch time again, and we can just have different dimensions from now on. I hope
right.
that's what they do, honestly, because time is too confusing.
Right. Uh, because they kind of set up dimensions um kind of haphazardly with Mysterio, where he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Earth 343 or whatever,"
Yeah,
you
but he
know.
wasn't really. He was lying.
But he wasn't really. But it's also like,
I swear that was to put it.
hmm,
I swear that was for them to put it in the trailer and to put that idea in everyone's mind. So then when it happened, everyone's like, "Oh, okay." I think it was
yeah.
like to like brace for impact. Yeah, there's
But
3 more episodes. Restolium
yeah,
one.
yeah, you gotta watch it, dude.
You
You
should
won't
watch it.
you won't understand a single thing that happens.
We have a hard time, it seems. It's
But
pretty good though. Like I've enjoyed. I feel like Tom Hiddleston's really bringing it, but also that's another thing is like just a week prior he was doing the Avengers shit, where he's like big evil man and he's like got all of Earth like under his wing, where he's got all those people like bowing to him and stuff, and now he's like, oh god, this whole planet's gonna die, and it's like you don't care about that, Loki. What are you talking
well,
about? Like you're like his character is very confusing to me.
but
Just because
I
he
think
saw that like highlight reel of himself dying, like
I think
it's
that's what it is.
but you think
I
that's enough to like change a man that just a week ago was like trying to take over Earth?
Could you imagine like knowing exactly how your life is going to turn out and being like, I can change it if I change my attitude sooner? Or um like if you watch your life and something terrible happens, it's like, well, that sucks. I feel like you would kind of live through that in that moment of you watching the future. You know?
I
Like if you
guess,
got
but
like
like
if you watched yourself get into a car crash and you relived it, I feel like you would feel all of that stuff leading up to that, even though you're not technically sitting there, you're just watching yourself, you know?
yeah, I don't know. It's all confusing because I would almost feel like watching someone else, right? Because like you're like, well, now that's not gonna happen to me because I'm a variant, and so it's almost like seeing someone completely different. Just like how Sylvie is a variant of Loki, right? But at the same time, it's like she had different parents and she's like lived a different life. And it's like, it's almost
Right.
like she's not even a variant and just a completely different human. And,
Right. And there's
or
like the whole
not human,
Hulk
frost
Loki or whatever that we
giant or
saw.
whatever.
Yeah. There's that
Yeah.
whole Hulk Loki that we saw on the like Palm Pilot
Right. And it's
thing,
like,
and it's like that's something's different there, you know?
I have one more theory.
Uh-huh.
What if Sylvie is actually Loki's and Thor's mom, but like younger. Because, and the only reason I say that is because there are several times they mention the mom a lot, and
Yeah,
like, he talks about like his mom was
that's a
great,
good
and she
theory.
kind of has like this like face of like sadness and like and he also talks about like how Sylvie does like witchcraft very well, and he's like, you taught yourself that, and like it's almost like maybe she's not Loki, but she's
She's
actually his mom. And if like time travel's a thing, um, it could be her,
it
like
could
a
be,
younger version
and
of
like
her,
she
and she
just
would
doesn't
have the
know.
Loki horns because that comes from Asgard. And
But she doesn't know like the magic that she taught him because she's not old enough yet to know that magic. Because she doesn't know like his all like magician hide the shit, make fireworks or whatnot. And then also speaking on
I
that,
mean, maybe
what
she does. I don't know.
there's a point where those buildings coming down right on top of
Oh
him,
yeah, and
right?
Loki just like
And Loki just kind of like stops, and then the building goes right back to where it goes, and then he like continues. So what the fuck is that? That's not one of his powers.
I guess it is. I guess it is. I guess he has force push now.
But
But then
like
it's like, why didn't you just like leap over everyone, to get to the ship
right,
instead of
it's
running
so
through them? Like it's
it's
very
so
confusing.
comically awkward. It really is. It's like maybe it's not he's not actually doing that. That maybe that's one of the reasons that we can tell it's like an illusion or whatnot. Is because like that would never happen and he was just so in the moment that he didn't think about it. Or maybe she didn't think about it, you know?
I, I,
I don't know.
yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, like so they're like, we have 12 hours, and they're like, okay, let's like lightly walk. Let's have a brisk walk there. Uh, but you'd think they'd have like more of a plan, because like they're like, we have 12 hours to get there, and then they get there and it like everything explodes in like 5 minutes. And
Mhm.
it's like,
Yeah,
I don't know, I feel like you'd have a bit more of a plan. You could have like
especially if
talked it out a little.
you're walking 12 hours.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like great. We're on this train for like 10 hours and then we're walking for 2 hours. Why did he care about the people dying on the planet in the city but not the people trying to get onto the train? Yeah,
Right? Yeah, it's very strange. It's a
very
very,
weird.
and he already knew that they were all going to die anyway, right?
Right.
And that idea is kind of like terrifying, like that whole thing where it's like there's a ship there and like half of these people are going to get out and these other people are watching them get away, but then all of these people that are watching them get away like watch it explode, and then
Right.
they're dying too. It's kind of like a terrifying thought when you think about
Oh,
it.
it's so terrifying because
Yeah.
like if they got away, at least your like race survives, your species survives, not race. At least your species survives. But like it doesn't, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, what the fuck, you know? Yeah, that is a terrifying,
Yeah.
deep
I
thought.
don't know
But
why he cared about. That's what I was saying too. I was like, why? Like that, and also, why would he even care about these people when just a week ago he was trying to take over Earth and was trying to kill everyone on Earth? It's
well,
just a very confusing character thing.
that too, but also when he's like at Mount Vesuvius or whatever
Mount
in
Vesuvius.
Pompeii, the Pompeii
Yeah, yeah.
explosion.
He
He's
doesn't
just
give a
like,
shit.
"Oh, you're all gonna die, ha ha ha! It doesn't matter." And then this is like, he's like, "They won't let these people on." It's like they're dead anyway, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
like that thing's about to explode anyway. But maybe the idea was, maybe the reason he had that thought process was because before he didn't know he was going to create a new timeline. And now he is creating a new timeline by taking that ship. So like some of these people may actually survive because they're
uh,
kind of splitting off into a new timeline. So maybe that was his thought process. Um
maybe.
I don't know.
That's a cool idea too, because like if he did save the people at Pompeii, if they brought a spaceship, loaded them up, and then took them off, what the hell kind of implications is that?
Right. Yeah. I think
Crazy.
you would still not want to create timelines, but if new timelines were created, you wouldn't want to end those timelines.
Right.
So like, I don't know. I'm so confused. Like, what is this show even about? I don't even know.
It's about who the timekeepers are and why we're trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's the biggest question. Like who are these? What are these timekeepers? I guarantee you they're not three guys who dictate a timeline. They're probably a big bad or a big good who is just doing crazy things that nobody's really noticed and getting away with it. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see next week.
Yeah. You got anything else?
We've been going for a while. I think
Yeah,
we about covered it.
I think so. We don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Neither does
But
Loki, apparently.
it was fun. We
You'd
went
think
on
he'd
so
ask more
many.
questions, you know?
Yeah, yeah, because she obviously knows what's going on, but
Yeah.
he's like, "How do you do your magic?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna tell you."
Yeah, that
And
wouldn't
you're
be
like,
my
"Okay,
first
cool.
question. My first
No,
question would be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
why are you doing this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, knowing Liam could have been Thor, what part of Thor's character would have changed? Who's a Liam? Liam Neeson?
Liam Hemsworth.
Oh,
Uh uh Liam Hemsworth? Do you mean Chris Hemsworth? Because Chris Wait, oh, cuz knowing Liam could have been Thor. Did Liam also audition for Thor? Is that what you're telling me right now? Liam Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth's brother, auditioned for Thor as well? It's kind of a fucked up thing to do, really. It's not very nice.
I don't even know who Liam Hemsworth is.
He is Chris Hemsworth's brother. He
Right.
uh he
What if
dated
he
Miley
shows?
Cyrus for he actually married Miley Cyrus for a bit.
What if
And he
he
was in the
shows
Hunger
up in
Games.
this? What if he shows up in this as Thor?
And we get Luke Wilson. Oh, can I what if Mobius now hear me out. So Mobius has that little mustache thing, right?
Right.
What if he's Howard Stark? Like a variant of Howard Stark.
Oh.
Just saying. Just throwing it out there. I doubt he is. Just be weird if he was.
I
Right?
mean, anybody can be anything in this, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that little Mexican guy who's got all of the all of the Infinity Stones, and they're like, yeah, they just keep bringing him over. What if he's like Captain America variant? You
yeah.
know?
Well, and I also get like I've been feeling this way pretty much since WandaVision, but like honestly before WandaVision, some of the movies too, where it's like their powers are whatever the writer wants them to be. And
Yeah.
it's kind of lame. Uh like even this with Loki where it's like I can just force push now.
I
And
don't know
it's
what
like
that was. I don't know what that was. It didn't look like he was pushing it. It just looked like he went huh, and stopped it, and then it
well
just kind of went, eh,
well cuz he's
you
like
know.
I've got this and he like force pushed it. It was weird. And it's like any character can just like have any superpower that's convenient to the story at that moment. And like I feel like giving Spider-Man the iron suit just kind of is like, well, he can just do whatever now
He
that's
can do whatever.
convenient to the story or that looks cool. Iron Man is like now he's got the nanobots so he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah,
And like
that's probably the worst part of Iron Man is the fact that he has like these nanobots that are his suit,
it was
and he can.
cool, but then it is like you kind of peaked at that point. There's nowhere to go
Yeah,
from there.
yeah,
Um, and and that's why like Thor is cool because Thor just like has a hammer and lightning, and like you get that, like that's a power you get. But then Wanda, it's like she can do whatever she wants, I
hmm
guess. I don't
yeah.
know. Doctor Strange too. He can just kind of do what he wants. I don't know. That's just sort of a side tangent, I guess.
Liam's Liam's brother auditioned for Thor. He's married to that beautiful actress. Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Rusty.
uh,
Um, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Loner Spoilercast. We're discussing Loki. And, what is it? Episode 5? Is that what we're on?
4.
4. Or
It's 4.
is it 4?
This is 4. Yeah. Episode
Jesus,
4.
dude. I feel like this season, it's been so long, but I want more of it.
I feel like it's been very short. Yeah, I feel like they've accomplished a lot in a short amount of time.
So, the issue I was having with the last ones, with the last 3, I guess, was like they were setting things up, and it's just like you don't get an answer. You just have more questions, more questions, more questions. In this one, they just knocked over most of the questions, and it's like, okay, this is pretty fucking cool. Like,
yeah.
The TVA's falling apart. We know who Lady Loki is, kind of more about her backstory. We know who the people working at the TVA is. We know who the 3 people are, the 3 timekeepers, and it's like,
But it left you with enough questions to be like, I want to know more. I need to know more.
absolutely.
I agree. What do you think of this episode? Like on the whole, what do you think?
I like this one the most, I think. Yes. Story-wise, I like this the most. Dialogue-wise, I like the second one the most.
I think I'm with you. Like, I think I like this one the most out of all of them. And I'm just blown away looking at these IGN reviews that are like giving it a 5. Like, what?
I keep seeing that too. I keep seeing that online. It's like, oh, they lost it with Loki, and I'm like, dude, no, this is something. This is something different. I fucking love.
And it's like,
I fucking love this. That's all it is. That's all anything.
I guess they want more high octane action, which we got some of that. We got some of that. There was a cool little action piece, although I will say the cinematography is pretty weak. Just like the last episode where I thought like the fight scene was pretty lame. But like, I don't know. I don't feel like that's the draw of this show at all. I feel like it's the dialogue.
If you want that shit, go watch Falcon Winter Soldier. Like, there's plenty of that in Falcon Winter. This is a different show that does something completely different, and it's so good. It's so good at what it does, and it's just like it's not going flashy. We've seen that with like the shitty CGI and like I don't know if, speaking of the shitty CGI, I don't know if the timekeepers were CG or if they were actual animatronics.
I don't know either.
I have no idea, because then it rolls off and then you see like the flesh part, and I'm like, was that CG? Because it looked really bad for CG. But then it's like, but it could be animatronic, and then it looked really bad for animatronic, but also really good at the same time, you know?
That whole sequence was so bizarre. Like, just seeing them, and they looked fucking horrible. I'm like, ugh.
Oh, they looked so bad.
But then like when they turned out to be animatronics, I'm like, okay, all right. And like, dude, I mean, I pretty much called it from the beginning of the show. I'm like, it's gonna be like the Wizard of Oz, and it felt like the Wizard of Oz too, didn't it?
Sure did. It sure did.
It felt like the Wizard of Oz. To go back to your point you were making before, where like this show is totally different. I think like the 70s, 80s aesthetic that they have at the TVA is like so perfect, because I feel like
so fucking well.
I feel like this show feels like a 70s, 80s like crime drama.
Like a sci-fi crime,
It's a lot of like dialogue, not even sci-fi. It feels like a cop drama from like the late 70s, early 80s, where they're just like a lot of dialogue. They're walking next to each other like, what's going on, Haas? Or like, let me in there. Let me interview him, dude. Let me in there. You know, like that's what it feels like. That's you know, I really like that. I really appreciate that at the beginning of the episode, Owen Wilson said, "How?" I really appreciated that. It felt, you know.
I went when they're talking about subject 16 or whatever her name was,
and he goes, "How?" It felt like a wow without saying wow. You know.
Yeah, for sure. I get that.
Yeah,
dude. I don't know this. The way it's all like all the dominoes are falling in place is like, wow, this is something. They set something up really well. I almost said really wow.
Really wow. Wow, it's crazy.
They set something up really well, and that's just laying down perfectly, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
because like all every TVA agent is a what do they call a variant?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like that's yeah, of course they are. And I'm like, oh, this bitch who like runs and like communicates uh with the timekeepers. She's in on it. She knows it. And then sure enough, like later in the episode, they're like, yeah, she's in on it. She knows it. She actually like killed or sent away the
A,
other
a
person, which you learn.
little a little predictable, but
Yeah, yeah, but
you know.
it's, it's a fucking Marvel movie. But what the weird thing that they did that I don't know if I agree with just quite yet is that the sticks don't actually kill people. Like
Yeah,
pruning somebody doesn't actually like disintegrate them. So I
yeah.
don't. It makes me think they're not actually
So
where they think they are.
so I
You know?
wonder about this, just to bring that up. Like obviously I thought first of all, like it was crazy. Like it was crazy. Wow. Like it was crazy that they
Wow.
decided to kill Owen Wilson. I was like,
Oh my
holy
god,
shit, they
that
just
threw
fucking
me
killed
off,
him.
dude. That threw me off so much. He's just like,
And
I
I'm
want to
like
go
that
back to where I was, and then she just fucking offs him, and
I'm
he
like
didn't
that's
even like fight it. He was just like, yeah, all right,
yeah, and that's like a crazy send off, and I really appreciated it. I'm like, dude, they're just committing to it, like they're just
yeah,
killing him off, and then they killed Loki too, and I'm like, holy fuck, they just killed Loki, and now the
yeah,
show is gonna be about Sylvie as Loki, and
right,
I was like, I called it. This is to recast Tom Hiddleston,
yeah.
and but
But then
then
you get
but then
the end credit.
the end credit teaser is like, well, here he is. But here's my thought, maybe, is like the only way to really kill these people without creating a branching timeline is to send them to one of those like end of the scenario, end of the line, like a doomsday thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Um,
You just send them to a dooms like a world-ending
yeah, event.
catastrophe.
So then it won't create a time variant or whatever.
So
So
then
it
they
sends
die there.
Yeah, so then they die in that apocalypse, right? So it sends them there, and then the Lokis at the end were like, "All right, we found you. Now let's get the fuck out of here quick." You know,
Yeah, that's
like
true,
yeah,
dude.
I go ahead.
The amount of Lokis that he like wakes up to is just I laughed out loud.
Horrible.
I really did. It was just like, oh my god. And then there's like a fucking crocodile with
With
horns,
the
and you're like, are you
horns.
fucking kidding me?
It's an
Are you kidding me
alligator.
right now?
It's an
It's like
alligator Loki.
you got to be fucking kidding me. Yeah, it I'm super excited. Like when I saw that and I'm like, of course he's not dead. They didn't kill him because it's Marvel and they you never know when you're going to use a character again.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wakes up, but I was not expecting like 1600 other Lokis just to be like, "We got to go, guy. You got to wake up quick." kind
So
of thing.
so fun thing about those Lokis, right? Okay. The old Loki, obviously in like that classic Loki comic book outfit, which is hilarious. He looks ridiculous. He
Mhm.
looks
Yeah.
like Wanda and Vision in the Halloween episode. He looks fantastic. I love him.
Mhm.
The other dude with the hammer, I don't know much about him, but apparently there's something to do with the comics. Like there's a comic version of Loki that's like him. I don't really know. The one that's interesting is that kid, though, because that kid Loki has been part of the Young Avengers, which it seems
Oh.
like Marvel has been setting up this like Young Avengers thing, right? With now this kid Loki, and then they had Photon or whatever she goes by in
Oh.
WandaVision. There was somebody else. Maybe the dude from Falcon and Winter Soldier, the one that's like, here, have the wings. Like, just like the younger, unexperienced Avengers. So like it does seem like they're setting up a sort of Young Avengers thing. So that's cool.
I don't know. I think you're reading a little too far
Maybe. Yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
for sure, for sure.
Uh,
Alligator Loki, not to be seen anywhere in the comic books, though, apparently.
Yeah, he's not like Spider Pig at
No.
all. Like he just wasn't. They just decided let's throw an alligator or a crocodile. I'm not sure which one. My
do,
bet's on
do you
crocodile because there are more crocodiles than there are alligators.
do
So
you think he's just an alligator and the kid's like, let's put horns on him because it's cute?
he just fucking picked him up and went. and put horns on him.
Yeah, it's like
I don't
it's just
know,
my pet and he's cute and I put horns on him. I don't know.
dude. I feel like the point. I'm just jumping all around because this episode was like a huge clusterfuck.
Yeah.
But the point where she's like, they're animatronics, or what are they?
Androids.
Androids. They're androids.
Yeah.
Mindless androids. And she's like, what are we gonna do now? It's like, well, I know what I would do. I would just go down the hall of the TVA and freaking enchant everybody so that they like remember shit, and then they can tell you how they got there,
Mm-hmm. But they may not know. None of them may know.
But the black lady, the I forget what her name is. She doesn't really have a name.
It was like B16 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like super grateful that like once she started getting her memories
Sure.
back, and even the girl that like lost her mind,
And Owen Wilson too.
Right.
But like he didn't know,
Well, he didn't know now, but he's not enchanted even. He just knows that there's something else.
Right.
He's just taking a leap of faith, really.
They remember their past, but they're like, we don't know how we got here. They still didn't know where they got here, but they had memories of their past.
Right.
At least that was the impression I got. Was like, even after being enchanted, they remembered their past, but they didn't know.
Well, I mean, they didn't show that they knew how. Like that's, I don't know. That's what I would do. Where she's like, "What's next?" I'm like, "Well, you got all these people to enchant. You just walk back out the other door."
The B16 lady or whatever her name was, I don't remember. But I thought the way they played her was really well. They did it really well because like I couldn't tell if she was just gonna be like a loyal henchman or if she was gonna do the heel
flop.
turn.
Yeah, for sure.
And they played it so well that when it happened, I'm like, nice. I didn't really see that. I didn't really see that coming. Like,
yeah, but it totally makes sense.
Yeah, and it worked really well. But you could have called it for sure, but like I didn't call it.
Right, because right at the beginning she's like a total bitch. She's just like,
exactly.
Get rid of these people, get rid of these variants.
She
They're
feels
terrible.
like your typical like henchman, like by your side, ride or die.
Like freaking Phasma from Star Wars,
or Squidward from Endgame or Infinity War. Remember the long lanky dude in Infinity War, and he's like, "Calm down, Squidward." Remember Iron Man?
No,
at the beginning of the movie.
I don't remember that.
And then Iron Man goes, and like his jacket turns into.
Yeah, the guy who can like move matter and pierce people. Yeah, okay.
But that's like your typical. Like, that's your ride or die.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy who's like obviously evil, and he's like a scientist.
You thought she was gonna be Phasma, but she turned out to be Hux.
Right? Yeah. Oh God, but Hux is such a bad heel, though.
Yeah, for sure.
He's such a bad heel. No, I fucking love this one. I really do.
It kept me interested. Like I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next week. And like. This was like a great culmination, right? Because like the last one, I'm like, I like the chemistry between the two of the Lokis, but I wished it was Owen Wilson, and this was the perfect blend of getting both of, like Tom Hiddleston just has perfect chemistry with both of these people, and like I loved the line where he's like, "Yeah, you fell in love with yourself." You are the biggest narcissist.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But like honestly, she cute as fuck.
She is.
She cute as fuck. I'd fall in love with that bitch. I mean, I'd fall in love with that nice lady.
That nice lady. But she is
that
Loki.
Nice lady.
She's Loki.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but I don't mean to call nobody a bitch. I'd call you a bitch.
It's weird.
No, but
I thought the backstory was a little strange that she was so young. Maybe they could have played her up a little bit older.
See, no, but that's interesting.
You'd think she'd be a lot dumber, right? She'd kind of walk around like "Hatoy" because she didn't go to school.
No,
she's a
fucking princess or whatever.
But she was like 7 years old or 8 years old when she was grabbed. So she'd have the intellect of an 8-year-old. So she would be pretty dumb.
But you grow up real quick only living in Armageddon's Armageddon's though.
Well, yeah, for sure, but I mean, just as far as her like grammar and stuff, I'm not
I
saying she wouldn't like understand, you know, the things that she knows, like the blocky thing that Mobius steals or whatever. But
right.
like, she'd probably be kind of dumb.
I don't know, man. I think you're looking too far into it.
I
But
guess.
what
Yeah.
you were saying was she's like really young. I feel like that's a super important point because like at what point do they take you?
People are just
What
shooting
point
off
does
fireworks out here. What the hell?
dude, the freaking sun's won.
The
I
sun's.
bet you. The
Yeah.
sun's won. I don't hear it on your end, but yeah, at what point do they take you? At what point does a deviation in the sacred timeline warrant the TVA coming and taking you? Because like, what did she do that was different?
Right. Well,
But
just
she
the
was a
fact that
girl,
maybe it was just the fact
obviously.
that she was a lady, but it takes a while for them to notice the deviation.
So what I think is like, I think there are multiple timelines that do the same thing. And like, say you have a dog Loki, right? It's fine as long as all the story kind of
Yeah.
is canon,
That dog
right? But
still
as
gets
soon,
stabbed
right, by
by
Thanos, yeah,
Thanos. Yeah.
by Thanos dog, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
that's what I
dog
mean.
Thanos.
That's what I mean. Like, if it's just as long as it follows that same timeline, it doesn't matter if you're a Hulk or a girl or a dog, you know, it doesn't, I don't think it matters. But it brings up an interesting thing that where, like, at what point do they, do the TVA come in? Because is it like, oh, there's a dog Loki, we got to kill it. We got to bring it back, I guess. Or is it like what I said, where it's just a timeline, and as long as it follows the timeline, it's pretty good, you
Well,
know?
and what does this mean for Gamora as well, who is like she's a variant now, right? Because if she's still alive in our universe,
You're gonna have to refresh my.
because in Endgame she comes with Thanos.
Oh, right,
Because she dies, but
and she
then
like sees herself.
the
Yeah,
variant version of her comes and
moves to this
and
timeline.
like
That's
kicks
right.
Peter in the nuts or whatever. But like, so like she's a variant too, right? And
Hmm.
so is the TVA like searching for her? Is this gonna lead into some of that stuff? And then I don't know, man.
I'm still standing by that the TVA is bullshit. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't actually exist. There's no like timeline.
So what
It's
is it
just like a
though?
front. It's probably like a prison of some sort, is what I'm guessing.
But
It's
for
probably
why?
like, I don't know yet. The
Yeah.
sorcerer's prison. Dormammu is just fucking like fucking with people
You
or
think it's
something.
Dormammu? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. It could be like any sort of
Like,
sorcerer,
what would the
or you
purpose
know.
be? I don't know.
I don't know. Fucking should
Well,
be.
because
He has all those people under his control. You know.
even that one lady in Infinity War, or was it Endgame? I think it was Endgame. In Endgame, she's like, "This is the sacred timeline, and like, if you move the stones, it creates branching
Right.
things." So like, even
You're talking about the bald lady who trained Strange,
right,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever
And
her,
she's like, you're too early, or
yeah.
something like that when Hulk shows up.
But
Yeah.
like, even she buys into the branching stuff, right? So like,
Right.
so there has to be something, and this is obviously all going to lead into Doctor Strange somehow. It has to.
Absolutely. Yeah, it
It
has
has
to.
to.
There's no way. And I bet you like $5 that Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man, Far From Home, is going to involve the timeline or dimensions or
I
something
think
and lead like right into like it'll
I
be like beat for beat, like
and
end Spider-Man, start Doctor Strange kind of
I
thing.
I also think this is going to be their way to like incorporate the Sony verse into the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Dude, I
because
hope.
Morbius, the trailer for Morbius
Right.
has the picture of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man on the wall in the trailer.
Really?
There's like the
But that's a
mural of
But
Tobey Maguire's.
that's a Sony project though, isn't
That's
it?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm
But
saying. Like, I feel like now it's like this is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just a branching timeline.
no, Morbius is.
Not Mobius, Morbius.
Oh shit! Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, Nick is leaving. Nick has left the stream because reasons. I don't know what's happening. I'm concerned for his health. What happened?
Sorry, Amazon.
At
Just fucking
9:30?
with you. I know. I locked Danielle out on accident. I forgot that I
You
had
locked her.
turkeys. I locked her out. Yeah.
Oh, that's fucked.
That bitch deserved it. What were we? You're talking Mobius.
Morbius.
The
The Jared Leto movie.
The Jared Leto movie.
Correct.
Right. That's a Sony movie.
Correct.
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is also a Sony movie.
Correct.
How does that say Disney?
Because now they can say like it is connected, but through it's a branching timeline.
Oh, I see.
So like Sony Spider-Man, not really part of the MCU, which is the sacred timeline, but it's part of a branching timeline. So if they wanted to have a crossover, they could. But Sony can do whatever the fuck they want, doesn't affect the MCU, but they can have crossovers because they could go through dimensions or whatever.
Right, and probably the same thing with like Venom.
Right, because I'm pretty sure Venom's going to be part of the Morbius universe anyway. I'd have to assume.
I really hope Jared Leto does not do well in this one, and this Morbius just fucking tanks.
Why?
And they're just like, I don't like that guy, that cult leader. I just don't like that guy.
He is creepy. I agree. He is creepy. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
Though, sometimes.
Sometimes he's a good actor. I haven't liked him recently.
That's
God, that was pretty good. That was pretty good, honestly.
That's my Jared Leto Joker laugh.
That was so fucking bad. That movie was so bad.
Yeah, so the branching timelines, I think leaves a lot of possibilities for them. I think it's a good move for them in the long term to keep this thing running. But the thing about it, though, Nicholas,
yes,
they're going to get a lot of movies out of this for sure. They're going to make a gazillion dollars off of this.
Oh, yeah. Movies, TV shows, animated series.
This could be the phase where Marvel jumps the shark, though, right? I mean,
yeah,
it could be the phase because they could knock all of these movies out of the park and then everyone's going to be like, all right, there's just too much shit now. It's sort of like with Star Wars. It's like there's too much going on. I can't follow it. You know? Like,
well, the thing with Star Wars that makes it not nearly as good as Marvel right now is the fact that they totally just went all the canon stuff. It's not real. You know, just don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to the books, this, and all that canon stuff. All that Legends stuff is canon again because we just rewrote it in a different sentence.
I also think like Marvel has the benefit of being like the comic books are their own thing. They do what they want, and like the writers and the artists can have the freedom to do whatever the fuck they want, and it doesn't affect our movies at all. Whereas Star Wars, they wanted the comics, they wanted the books, all of that to be canon. They wanted it all to be connected. Where it's like maybe you just let the Star Wars comics kind of stand on their own. You know?
Right, yeah. You just have the books. You have the books on their own.
And you could pull from them if you want, but like don't really connect them to the movies, but like people can tell their own like kind of iteration of Star Wars. That's so much better. What a weird tangent, but yeah.
No, you're totally right, because like you tell a story about something else not in the Skywalker series, the saga, and it's just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like Thrawn, that makes sense, right? You have like,
well, I mean, and that's what they're doing right now, right? With the
Mandalorian.
No. The comics that they're doing, the High Republic is what they're.
Oh, right.
That's their big thing. Right now.
That's like the old, in the past sort of stuff, and that's cool. Like I haven't read it.
Republic, yeah.
Old Republic.
Yeah, old Republic. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
I
Super
like
good episode.
I like this episode. When are we going to see Steve Rogers?
We're not, dude. We're not going to see Steve Rogers. I don't think this links up with anything
we have
in the past movies.
Okay, so here's a fun little thing. All right, keep it fun here. We keep it
All
fun
right.
over here on
Keep
Lonercast.
it fun. Keep it light.
So we haven't gotten like any real cameos from anyone, right?
No.
From the MCU proper. Like even in Falcon and Winter Soldier we got Don Cheadle.
Oh,
Don-
yeah, I guess he's not really a cameo. He just has like a couple of lines, and
that
he
is the
shows up.
that is the definition of a cameo.
But like
Uh,
he shows up and he talks about something, and then he like as a cameo. I always feel like a cameo is like, haha, that's funny, and then that's it. You know,
that
like
that that was kind of his thing there, though. It doesn't have to be a funny cameo every time. Sometimes it's just like it's a little cameo from a character there. I can look up the definition of cameo here, but
no, I get it, but like the way that what is the guy named Excelsior? What is his the guy that made fucking
Stanley.
Spider-Man? Stanley. The way Stan Lee has like imprinted cameos in my brain is like, yeah, he's a background character that you're not really paying attention. He says one funny line and that's it. That's a cameo. You know, if you're gonna put a cameo in there, you have like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool going, "Oh my God, is that Spider-Man?" You know, and that's it. That's the whole thing that you have in there.
I look up cameo on Google and there's just an image of Stanley.
He was the king of them, right?
A cameo is a small character part in a play or movie played by a distinguished actor or celebrity.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a cameo. What Don Cheadle did was a cameo for sure. And the reason I bring that up is we haven't had any cameos from any actor or any MCU characters besides Loki. We had the little callbacks, I guess, to like the original Avengers event.
Yeah, but sort of.
That was more just like, reused footage.
The reason I think we don't have that is because this isn't a real thing. That what they are in is not what they say they are in. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like they could be just in a mind prison that is Sylvie to begin with.
Could be.
Sylvie
I don't know.
is the
Like,
mind prison that they're all in or whatever. Loki is just in a mind prison. I don't know. But
I don't have the answer, but it's just like I do not think it is what they say it is.
The question I'm bringing up to you is, do you think we're going to see any cameos in the next 2 episodes? By
Doctor Strange maybe.
Yeah. I feel like Doctor
or the her
Yang.
His like mentor, the bald lady.
Or Yang. Is that his name? Yang?
The Asian guy who's like the funny Asian guy from Doctor Strange. Yeah. Well, I could see anybody from like the Doctor Strange,
especially since we've seen him in the commercials for Shang-Chi. And he's fighting Abomination, which is cool. Cool callback.
Is he really?
Yeah, in the trailers.
I have not seen Shang.
Yeah, they just confirmed that big rocky monster that he's fighting is the Abomination, which is cool.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool.
Little callback. But yeah, maybe we see him. But what the one I really want,
Steve Rogers.
Give me Steven.
It's not gonna happen, dude. It's not gonna happen.
Rogers, baby.
No, he's more of like a movie cameo.
Steve Rogers?
Yeah.
Come on.
Like I could see him in the next Spider-Man if it is a dimensional sort of situation. Or the dimensions of madness dimension.
True. That would make sense because then he could be like, "Hey, Queens, what's up?" And then he's like, "Hey, Brooklyn." Yeah.
What the? Are we talking Miles Morales? Like what?
Well, remember in fucking Captain America: Civil War when he's like, "Hey, Queens, heads up." And
yeah. Okay.
Come on, man.
Come on, dude. It's been so long, and they keep pumping out the content, so we don't have the time to fucking rewatch these movies. I still have to fucking find Hulk somewhere rent.
We should throw one of those in one of these days.
We should.
Maybe next week.
Maybe.
Week out.
Maybe.
No, because that's the finale. Maybe just when the show ends, we'll do another one.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's
I loved it. I liked it a lot.
Me too. That's our tangent-filled episode of spoiler cast.
Loner spoiler cast.
Loki spoiler loner.
We gotta fucking figure this out, dude. No, we don't. I like it this way.
No,
I like it low key and relaxed.
this is like loner cast, after dark,
After hours, yeah, for sure.
we got our champagne, we got our you know got
Dude,
our
we should.
pole dancers in the back, hey.
I don't see any.
Look at the figures. They're
Oh
ready.
yeah, you got Link, or sorry, Zelda with a sword, and then you got Nathan Drake right there.
Sexy.
Yeah, and then Geralt is right there.
Sexy.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
yeah, that's
the
it.
show.
I'm excited for next week.
Me too. Any predictions for next week?
I think that they're gonna show more. They're gonna answer more shit, and we're gonna discover like who is actually behind what is going on.
I think we're gonna get
it'll spoil. It'll be like a hint at who is actually.
Was it Agatha all along?
Oh no, I don't think so. Well, this is in the past, isn't it?
I mean, they're jumping to future. This is anywhere, I guess, because they're like going to the future and the past, and
but like
they go to Loki. They go to 2077 at one point in this.
Well,
show,
I know, but it's like Loki from the past.
Sure,
and then he sees his future, and then he's like, "But
this is still part of the chronological timeline." I would say, like it's
we'll see. We'll see.
They went to 2077, dog.
It really depends on where he ends up at the end.
Yeah. I think he's going to die at the end.
What? You think he's going to die and we're not going to have Tom Hiddleston again?
Yeah, because, okay, like this is an issue I do have with the Marvel Universe. Is there is no finality. Like when someone dies, they don't die. And
then they shouldn't.
I would appreciate.
They shouldn't.
I disagree. I think they should because if they don't die, then there's no stakes. And if there's no stakes, then what's the point?
It's not about that though. It's about the characters. It's not the Gear War of 1860. No, it's
Loki's died like 3 times. It's just kind of like,
and he brings it up in this episode. He's like, I've died so many fucking times. And I'm not going to do it again. He's like, I'm used to dying. But I think if they killed any character other than the characters that have died, like, Black Panther, it's cool to kill that character and, start him over again because the actor died or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if they just kill a character and the actor's still alive and the actor's still willing to do it,
like you really think they should bring back RDJ?
Yeah.
Like I think that like really takes away from that moment. Like,
but no, because it could add to another moment. Like he may be dead in this timeline, right? But thinking in next new Spider-Man, Peter Parker's been through hell, right? Losing his mentor, fighting off Mysterio, getting his ass handed to him, and then going, I don't need Tony Stark anymore. And then what if in this next episode he goes to a different dimension and meets another fucking Tony Stark, and he's like, dude, what the fuck? You know how mind fucked and
wouldn't it be funnier,
deep that would be?
Wouldn't it be funnier and better if that Tony Stark was played by somebody else?
Okay, you're right.
Maybe Timothy Oliphant
or Tom Hanks.
I think Timothy Oliphant would be a great.
I don't know who that is.
Go ahead, look him up real quick. Look him up. Look up Timothy Oliphant.
Timothy Oliphant. There he is. Okay. What's he look like? Oh, what did he play? Dude, he looks like I know who this is.
He's in The Mandalorian.
Is he the Mandalorian?
He's the cowboy guy in the first episode of season 2. The one that has the armor, if you remember.
Oh, yes. That's exactly. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. I could see that.
So he already has ties to Disney, and apparently, I just heard this the other day. He auditioned for Iron Man when RDJ. Come on, dude. That's way better than bringing back RDJ. Leave him dead. You can bring back the Iron Man character
Yeah,
and mantle, but
you're
like
right.
leave Tony Stark dead or that version of Tony Stark. You know,
Right.
like
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so RDJ is gone and he's not in the thing anymore.
and
I
you can
feel like
have,
that's the
you
same
know,
thing with Captain America. What is his name is?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. I feel like that's the same with Chris Evans. Like you don't necessarily bring him back unless you're doing like a prequel thing, but like there's gonna be another Iron Man. You know, there's gonna be another
Yeah.
Captain. We already have another Captain America,
Right.
obviously,
Right.
but he's just kind of merged into one character.
Mhm.
Um, but we actually have two new Captain Americas. Uh, because you got Sam, and then you got Joe, John something,
Walker.
John Walker. Thank you. Um,
But he's
yeah.
not Cap
So,
anymore.
but he
He's
was
he's the Patriot now.
right, which is Dark Cap.
Yeah.
Cap negative. Um, no, but you're right. You're right. Don't bring back RDJ, but keep the character. I feel like with Loki, he could die.
He's the easiest one
He's
because
he's the easiest because he
he's
can
a
die, and
shapeshifter.
you don't believe it. Like it's like, did he actually die? You know,
Yeah, yeah. But like the
like
way
he's
these
so easily retconned to out of death.
these are
You
like
know,
big emotional deaths though, like when he died to the hands of Thanos or like when Gamora, like yeah, maybe you bring back Gamora as just the same actress, but like she's from a different dimension cuz I don't know. It's tough, man, cuz it's like yeah, you want the stakes to be there, but you don't want to see the characters go away. So it is
right?
like a tough balance, but also I enjoy some stakes in my movies.
I get it, and I agree. But
Like if they
there are
brought
certain
back
situations
if they brought
where
back the original Quicksilver from Age of Ultron in WandaVision, I
I
would have
thought
been
you were
upset. I think
I
I would
thought
have
you
been
were saying
upset.
Silver Surfer. I'm like, what? What?
No, no, no. Quicksilver. Like if they brought him
Yeah.
back, Pietro, I would have flipped out. I would have been like, no one dies. It's just that no one dies. This is stupid.
Well, yeah, because you watch him die,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, you watch Loki die. Man gets stabbed.
But he's a Loki, though. Like, it's like Loki's just like, did he
And
really die,
we
though?
watched Natasha die too.
Did we, though?
Yeah. Mhm.
I don't know about that
They
one.
got the stone.
Like, that could be a trick.
She's dead.
I,
And that's why they're doing a prequel. I hope they keep her dead.
I mean, her character is kind of dumb. Honestly, Black Widow's kind of fucking dumb.
You're dumb, dude. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
She's like
Hawkeye's
a
dumb. Black Widow's dumb.
fuck you, dude.
Uh,
Fuck you.
that
Hawkeye's like the coolest character, man.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
You want to fucking fight?
He's got arrows and shit. Come on,
Yeah,
dog.
yeah, man. He can
He's
shoot
got arrows. He's got like a sword now
He-
too, and like the cool
and
side
like
buzz.
oh my god, I was gonna say like the lesbian side buzz. Like
Come on, dude. That's a sick look.
not for
It's-
him.
I think he rocks it, dude. It made
I
me
don't
rock hard.
know. Oh, well, you're a lesbian,
A
so
little bit.
that's it for the Loner Spoilercast. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we had. This was fun.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm super excited. 2 more episodes, right?
2 more.
2 more.
Subscribe.
Hey everybody. Hello boyos. This is the Loner Spoilercast. We're talking about Loki episode 5. It's fucking fantastic. It was
I agree.
so fucking good, dude. This episode sealed in that this is like one of the better, for me personally, one of the better MCU movie TV show thing out there. And I'm including like Iron Man 1. Iron Man 1's really good. And I'm including Spider-Man, Homecoming, and the other one, Far From Home. This is right up there with them. Like it's so good. And it started off so like it could have gone bad, it could have gone good. It's doing everything right. It is doing everything right, and I fucking love this show. so much.
I completely agree, and it's funny. It's funny you say this, right? Because the last show, right, Falcon Winter
Mhm.
Soldier, there was a few episodes where you're like, I really like that episode, and I was like, I don't like it, and I went into
Right.
it. I'm like, I like this episode. I bet Nick isn't gonna like it. And this
Yep.
one, I was watching it, and I'm like, I really like this episode, and I bet Nick is gonna like it too. There was
Really.
just something about this episode. I'm like, this episode just rules.
Well,
It's
so they had the characters for you. The characters in this episode are so fucking good.
mm-hmm.
Like they're so well written. The chemistry between Loki and all the other Lokis and Miss Loki and Owen Wilson's character, they mesh so well. Even the point where like all the Lokis get together and they're like fighting and he's like, I don't want to be here right now. I'm just gonna, avoid everybody and tiptoe around and just like even his like interactions with the alligator Loki is
Yeah.
super good. Like for you, that I know that character development is like your number one. I feel like the characters in this episode were fantastic. Um, for me, the area was really cool. I love locations. I loved classic Loki bringing back Asgard as like a fucking um, illusion or whatever. It felt so good, and it had like essences of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, where they're like holding hands and like they grab the Soul Stone, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just like it kind of felt like that moment where it's just like yes, we're fucking connected, and it just felt really good, you know. I enjoyed it.
I completely agree. And, you know, I think you said it last episode where you're like, this is like the first one where like I need to go back and watch it again. I feel
Hmm.
that for this one, like
Oh yeah,
hardcore, because the amount of Easter eggs that were in
yeah.
this episode were insane. Like there was Thor as a frog was in there somewhere.
Hmm.
Thanos's helicopter was in there.
Yeah,
There all sorts of weird shit, like all the different Loki variants, and I totally agree. Like the characters, right? Like what they did with classic Loki, like the old man Loki, they
hmm.
give you this character that we've never met before, but we have because he's Loki, but we haven't because he's
Right,
a variant of Loki.
right.
And by the end, when he's doing this cool ass shit, like summoning Asgard, and he ends up dying in the end, you're like, damn, you
Yeah,
know, like, and you felt it,
yeah.
and it was like they
And they
built
did
this
that.
character like so well. Yeah.
And they did it within 45 minutes. You
Yeah.
know, like that's
Yeah, exactly.
mind blowing. Like you can't there was more like what there was more chemistry and character development in this one episode than the entire run of Fast and Furious.
That's
Like
true.
good lord, man. Like you just feel for all of the characters that are in there and yeah, I don't know. I don't know, dude. I like it's weird that like he's attracted to himself, but it's not that weird. You
But
know,
also
it's like
like
if there's a girl version of me, it's like that's the perfect girl, right? She's just fucking me. You
it
know?
it also
I
seems
know I know
little
what
it seems a little one-sided, I will say. That
what do you mean?
that romance blossoming.
I
It
he,
feels a little
I thought
one-sided, but
I thought so too on the last episode where he like grabs her and he's like, "Hey, I have something to tell you," and then he gets pruned, and I just didn't feel like she was there. She was just like, What do you got to tell me? Like, no big deal." But like when they're sitting and he like gives her like the shitty blanket or whatever,
mhm.
it's like and then you kind of get back into her backstory. She's like, I've never had anybody. And it's like, oh, she's just a very reserved person. So
To
she doesn't
yeah.
like, she
To
doesn't show it very well. Like, hey, I care about you. And she doesn't want to show it because she's always been alone. And I think she did a fantastic job
to me
portraying that.
to me it still seems a little one-sided as far as like a romantic interest.
Or
She
a friendship. Yeah.
To me it seems like she's more interested in just like, I'm so down to have this Loki as my homie and like my brother sort of thing,
Hmm.
and he seems more interested in putting it in, but
I don't know though.
despite
I don't know.
despite
Like it could be
despite
little
that,
sister. Like it could be little sister,
and
you know?
I hope it's that. I hope it's that because I think just as far as the general audience goes, like having the two Lokis hook up seems a little weird, but uh, maybe I don't know. Like it is Asgard, and like Norse mythology is all about incest, so I'm sure. Just don't think about it too much. I have a feeling one of them's gonna die in this next episode, uh, and
I
that's
think
how
so
I
too.
think they'll wrap that up. And probably Tom Hiddleston, right?
Right.
Um, again,
Again, yeah, they
again.
kill him.
The,
But they make so many jokes about it. Like they bring it up a lot of times. He's like,
yeah.
I've died so many times. We're good at surviving, sort of thing.
Mhm.
You know?
So like a lot happened in this episode though, like because not only did we get like that whole thing, which I think we'll touch on again in just a second. I want to touch on the Sylvie stuff, like beforehand, where she's like dealing with the director of the TVA, whose name I'm
Hmm.
totally forgetting right now, and
Yeah, it's something like Ramona Flowers or some shit
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
Ramona or something, and they leave it a little bit on like a cliffhanger of like what's up with her, and like I don't know, she has this weird interaction with Agent B-25 or
Right.
B-15.
Right, right,
Uh,
right.
that conversation that she had with her was very strange to me. That was like maybe the weirdest part of that episode for me because it was like, why is she being so weird about it? Not Ramona or whatever her name
Right.
is. The person in the cage. Like, why is she like talking like a villain almost? Like, you'll never find out what's going on. And it's like, I don't know, man. It seems like you guys are both after the same answers. you know?
Right.
I don't know why that conversation was just
Well,
really weird to me.
I don't
But they leave it on like such a weird thing, where it's like the whole time I was expecting her to be like, I've known all along,
right.
and she never
Right.
did that.
Well,
She
maybe
seems a little confused herself. So
it's not too late. Like I still have a feeling like she's knows. She's just putting
yeah,
on an act like she doesn't know.
yeah,
You know,
and I
like
think that's why they left it on a cliffhanger. Yeah,
she is the big bad that created the TVA. And I think that's gonna be like the twist at the end. Is like, yeah, I created it, and then what's her face? Sylvie's gonna kill her, but she's gonna kill Loki before that, or something like that. Um,
what if
but
she's a
I've
Loki variant in and of herself?
that'd be kind of interesting.
And it's like I built the TVA, like the TVA was built by Loki's, and
I mean, the way this show is going, it could possibly be. Um, but I have a feeling that she knows more. She's just saying like, hey, um, I don't know anything, just to get more information. Because if she was like, hey, I'm a level with you, lady that I've enslaved in my little puppet game. Um, I'm the person that created the TVA and I need to know everything. She wouldn't give her anything. She'd be
but that
like, just send
conversation
me home.
was, that conversation was she was playing it like I'm still involved with the TVA. I still love the TVA. And then the person in the cage was like, "You don't know what's going on, do you?" And she
Yeah,
was like calling her out, and it's like,
right.
I don't know why you're calling her out. You should try and level with her right now because it's like
Mm-hmm.
if you sense that in her, that means you guys are both after the same thing, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe you guys should just talk it out. but
Yeah, but she's in a cage, and I get that.
but she
Like,
can let her
if
out of the cage.
she could, but when you're pissed, I don't know. When your whole life has been taken from you and you get put in a cage, you're kind of pissed at the person who did it.
I guess, but like, look at what happened with Mobius and Sylvie. They had a nice little, like, hey,
All right.
sorry I
Yeah,
chased you and shit. Sorry I put you here. My
that
bad.
was really cute. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And this kind of confirms what I was saying, where it's like when they put those little bombs out and send everything away, they send it here to
It
get
get
eaten
destroyed.
by the big
Yeah.
dragon man.
I thought it was like a little dog. It looked like a dog,
I
like
don't know, a
a
cloud
cloud
dog.
dog.
I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
just devours everything.
Look
That
like
scene with the fucking battleship was sick.
yeah,
That was sick.
fire. Yeah,
That
that
was
was
like
sick.
the coolest. Like the CG in this show kind of sucks at points.
I feel like
Like
they spent all their money on this episode, though.
there was a point in the beginning though that I'm like, oh, really?
I don't
I
know.
don't
I felt
remember
like
what point
this.
it was, but the that battleship scene where they get like disintegrated, I'm like, holy cow, that's awesome. You know?
That there was also just like the visuals of this show felt just very almost and I mean this in the best possible way, like cartoony almost, like comic booky, I
Comic
guess.
books. Yeah,
Yeah,
comic books.
and
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I really felt it in this episode, and I feel like if I ever decided to rewatch this series again, which of all of the three, I think this is the one that I'd want to rewatch the most so far.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, unless the last episode really drops the ball, which these shows tend to do, it seems. But you know, I would appreciate the visuals a lot more, I think, because it seems, especially with this episode, like they were really going for something. Like one thing in particular that really caught my eye was when they all start laughing at Loki, our Loki, and
Mhm.
classic Loki like laughs and like pulls up his cape, and then when the cape comes down, he's sitting like he like flashed into his chair. Like there was just a lot of like cool little nuances like that with the
Huh.
visuals that I
I didn't notice that.
yeah, he laughs, he throws his cape up, and then when the cape comes down, it's like he
He's already
magically
sitting.
sat. Yeah,
You think that I don't know. I feel like he could have just like threw the cape up, sat down, and then as the cape just kind of falls
that
down, and
I don't know. You watch it again; it's very it's very
it's
evident that
very
that's what they
like,
did. Um,
huh?
yeah, because it's not like he quickly sat down; he was like settled in the chair. You know, like
Oh,
yeah, lots of cool little visuals like that, and then like I love all of the extra Lokis that came up, and I mean this in the nicest way possible because some people may take this as an insult, but I mean it in a very genuine nice way. That scene where all the Lokis come and they're all just like fighting with each other and like they're all backstabbing each other, which is hilarious because that is what Loki
yeah,
would do. And then
yeah,
the one our Loki is like, "Ugh, God damn it, very much Rick and Morty to me. It felt like Rick and the
yeah.
Council of Ricks, and
And he's just like, walking. He's
like
just
like
avoiding bullets and walking away.
our Loki is the most Loki of the Lokis, just like Rick is the Rickest Rick
Well,
or whatever.
they even say though, like they say like he's not the young Loki like stands up. He goes, "You're not like us," and I think that's true to the effect of like he has changed.
Well, and it's because of
He
Sylvie.
right, right, and because she's not like anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that has a lot to do with it. He's just like this doesn't matter anymore. And even classic Loki gets like that right at the end. He's like the fucking the grand purpose or something like that. He found his purpose and it was like that's it. He was selfless. It was a selfless act that he did in order to save two other people. And I think that's like what kind of shifts for Loki, like every Loki, is there's like a turning point. There's somebody they meet, because even the Loki that we had in the movies, he shifts. I don't remember what point it is that he shifts, but he shifts to a good guy, you know?
Right.
Um,
Well, and it's a constantly, erratic thing with Loki. And if Loki continues to be in the MCU, I hope he maintains that sort of middle ground
right,
where he's like a
right,
good
yeah.
bad guy. I I don't
He's
want him to
like
go
a
quite full Vegeta, I want him to stay a little
he's like
evil.
he's like a relapsing drug addict or something,
Mhm.
where he just kind of slips out of it
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then comes back. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm real sorry about that. Can we be friends again?" And they're like, "Ah, fine, whatever." Um,
Well, I think
yeah,
like the thing about Loki is he is a narcissist, but deep down he does have a heart. Um
right.
Yeah, and I like that about Loki. Um,
It
yeah,
seems like he does that when he has somebody he cares about. You know,
yeah. But even when
even if it
there,
is himself.
well, even if there is someone he cares about, like Thor, it does, you know.
Well, he always goes back. Yeah.
Yeah, he does, but he doesn't. And I really liked that about the kid, right? They're like, respect the kid, and they're like, why? And he's like, he killed Thor. They're all
Right.
like, oh shit.
Oh shit. This kid's badass.
And good call, you know, just like leaving the kid Loki like sort of ambiguous. We don't know where he is. We don't know what's gonna happen with him in the future, which is good because then he can just kind of show up whenever in future properties, which he probably will. Young Justice. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Uh,
Okay.
Young
Okay.
Justice.
Young
Young
Justice. I
Young
was just
Avengers.
about to say Young Justice. What the fuck?
Young Avengers.
We in the
Yeah,
wrong. We on the opposite side of the coin on that one.
I loved Alligator Loki too. Dude, he bit that dude's hand off. I was dying laughing. That
Yeah.
was great. That
I
was
thought that was
hilarious.
pretty cheesy.
Yeah, dude, that whole fight sequence was fucking
Yeah.
cheesy as shit, but I loved it. And you know, it looked like they filmed it like, you know, like they had like they bought props from a dollar store and like spray
Yeah.
painted them and shit.
Yeah, for
And but
sure.
like I liked
Especially
that.
that guy's hammer. He was
Yeah.
like holding up the hammer and it's like two fucking pieces of cardboard. And you're like, what the fuck? What
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
budget did you guys use for this? But
But I
it's
felt
yeah,
like that was intentional. Yeah.
yeah, for
I
sure.
really liked it. Yeah. That whole sequence. And yeah. Like how is Sylvie so strong though? She was able to like enchant
Well,
the
that's the only thing she knows how to do though.
disenchant.
Like she doesn't do the tricks like other Loki. She doesn't have like the illusion magic, you know? Like she's just been enchanting everybody for who knows how long. Centuries, you know?
Well,
Um
what everyone's been saying since Sylvie's shown up is Marvel, you know, DC obviously has a character called Enchantress, and Marvel has a character also called Enchantress. So what everyone's saying is like the Sylvie is gonna be Enchantress, basically.
huh.
And when she said in this episode, like, these clothes suck ass, everyone's like, oh, she's gonna end up in like the Enchantress outfit, which I really don't know much about. I'm kind of talking out my ass right now.
I don't know anything
But
about it.
yeah, that's just a interesting, fun little fact for you. I don't know.
I've never heard of the Marvel Enchantress. I'm gonna look her up right now.
Um, what else? Yeah, classic Loki blew my socks off. I forget the actor's name. He's like a very famous actor. Classic Loki actor. Richard E. Grant. Um, he killed that role, dude. He absolutely destroyed that role. Uh, Perfect
Yeah, yeah,
casting.
he did. He sure did. Okay, so this is off Wikipedia. Enchantress is a common primary alias of two fictional characters appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. The first of these is a powerful sorceress with the real name Amora. She is one of Thor's greatest enemies. I have something to say about that. The second enchantress is the young Sylvie Lushton, who was given great mystical powers by Loki when he created her as a tool for chaos. She models herself after the original enchantress Amora. So it's pretty fucking
So
nose on the head, isn't it?
so she's Enchantress, but it's the MCU's version of the Enchantress.
Yeah, Sylvie Lushton, a member of the Young Master Surfaces, have modeled herself on Amora, the Enchantress, and takes on her teammate, uh, the adolescent who has been given powers by Loki so that he could use her in his schemes. Um,
So different
yeah,
backstory in this one.
yeah. Maybe not though.
Maybe we find
Maybe
out
not though.
she isn't Loki and she is a creation of Loki. Yeah, and maybe that would make their creepy love relationship less weird. Um, Um,
Would it though?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Twilight made it work that like the dog fell in love with the baby, you know. So they could do it here.
Yeah, I guess.
It's fine.
But it would make sense for because like a sorcerer, I'm thinking like, creating mind prisons like Dormammu and Doctor Strange, you know, just fucking with everybody. Like this is right up like sorcery sort of territory where it's like this isn't actually happening or
So for
it's
her being a variant of Loki in the MCU, to me just feels like, hey, it's kind of a bad look if Loki created like a servant. Doesn't really make him look good. What if we just made her a female variant of him? Boom,
right.
problem solved. MCU Sylvie, we got it. Boom.
Enchantress. Yeah.
That's very much an MCU thing to do. Change it ever so slightly to make it work within their own bounds, which is why I love the MCU
Within the
so much. Is like
within the current
they
day.
look at the comics for reference, but then they
Mhm.
continue to do their own thing with it, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. What was the big thing called? The world ending thing.
Uh, like you, the I,
You sound like the
right,
fucking you sound
sure.
like the guy, the onion guy from what is that game? The Onion King from cooking
Overcooked.
Overcooked. Thank you. Oh yeah.
Loki episode, end of the world. I'm trying to find it. I don't know why it's so hard to find. Cloud villainy. Loki episode 5. Cloud monster name. Alioth. Alioth.
Doesn't sound right.
That's what it says.
That doesn't sound right.
Here's the backstory of Alioth.
Alioth. Alioth of the comics was first introduced in 1993. Um, her name is Ravonna Renslayer, the
Mm.
director. Um,
Of the TVA, not the show.
Alioth is considered to be the first being that broke free from the constraints of time. It's no wonder then it would make an appearance in Loki. Uh,
Wild stuff. This
there's
is
a there's a
yes.
there's a section here that says Doctor Doom, and I always have to fucking go, ooh, this could be it.
I
But
don't know,
there's
man. It's
there's in this
possible.
in
Like
this
if
article, I haven't read this, so I'm gonna see what this says. It says this is a considerable long shot, despite the fact that we've wanted it to happen for a long time. Doom was the center of Marvel Comics' multiverse shattering Secret Wars event.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, yeah.
and the castle we see in this episode's conclusion sure does look like an awful lot like his humble Doomstat home.
What
Um,
castle?
the castle when they open up
Oh, do
the
you think?
portal.
Oh my god, that'd be
Every
fucking wild, dude.
every time we get excited about Doctor Doom or the potential Secret Wars thread embedded in the show, we're brought back to reality by the fact that there is virtually no way that Marvel would introduce arguably the greatest villain in a teasing series finale episode, especially not when they've got Kang-centric Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania to tee up with Kang. Uh,
Maybe because, especially since the rumors are that they're currently in production on Fantastic Four in
yeah.
Australia right now. I don't know, man. Possible.
I don't
Shit.
know. I don't know. I doubt it. I really doubt it because like nothing really screams Dune except for the fact that it's like a sorcerer's sort of like domain that's going on, you
Now
know?
hear me out. I don't want to get our hype, our hopes all high, because we're expecting, like in the last two series, we're expecting whatever his name was, fucking, uh, big bad man. But I don't want to get our hopes up too much. But it could be possible that they just have like a stinger thing, just like they dropped fucking Thanos like way back in what was the first time that
Oh
Thanos showed up?
yeah, he
Avengers?
showed up in like
Avengers, I
it
think.
was
Like
before
post
Avengers, I think.
I thought it was post credits Avengers one. Um
Um,
I think so.
First Thanos MCU appearance. And I wasn't fucking typing.
Don't you love it?
First
Don't you love it, folks?
Thanos MCU appearance. The Invincible Iron Man. No, that's not
Not the comics.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes. Oh Jesus. I don't need like the whole fucking thing. I don't know, dude. Children.
Avengers.
This goes like
Post
was it
credit
Avengers?
scene of Avengers, yeah.
So yeah, a while.
Yeah. Like 10 years before they actually made Endgame and Infinity War. So like, I mean, maybe you introduce Doom now, so then, you start, threading the needle. And that would be one of the best kept secrets in fucking Hollywood history, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
That'd be
seriously.
that'd be insane.
But people on the internet are going crazy. The castle that Loki and Sylvie see in Journey into Mystery, that was the episode, has strikingly similar European architecture features. For this reason, fans are going haywire over the idea that Loki is already teasing Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four ahead of the inevitable arrival in the MCU. And looking at the pictures of Castle Doom, and like I guess it could be, but maybe not.
I wouldn't get your hopes up, but like it'd be fucking cool if it was.
Yeah. It looks more like Kang. Looking at the picture of Kang, this what is it called? Castle Limbo. It looks more like Castle Limbo than it does Castle Doom. Anyway,
I would
it would
really
be it would
I'd,
be fucking dope if we got a Doom teaser. I just want a teaser. I want to know that Doom and the Fantastic Four are in the MCU,
well, we
and
already know they're in the
they're gonna
MCU.
but they're gonna sprinkle them out, and Doom's gonna be like the next big bad.
With that big like teaser drop thing, they already announced that Fantastic Four is happening. So
I just want
but,
I want a big bad. If not the next one, then the one after that to be Doom, and then
Doom.
Galactus. But then once you do Galactus, then it's really hard to do anything above Galactus, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. You make it work. The comics made it work. They're still going.
Mm. Yeah, they just started over.
Yeah, they could have an earth-shattering event and then start the movies over, reboot.
Reboot, yeah, just go to a different timeline.
Yeah, soft reboot.
Could be.
It's the move. Um, any predictions? Like, obviously,
I think we
those
pretty
kind of
much
were
said. I
predictions.
think it could be Loki, just fucking with other Lokis, or whatever. It could be what's her butt? I just forgot her name.
Ramona Flowers.
Ramona Flowers. It could be her fucking with something, and they could do like a uh Scarlet Witch sort of reveal where it's like, I've been your neighbor the whole time, but I'm also evil, you know? But like take off the mask. It's me, Doctor Doom. You know, or something like that. I don't know. I think it's gonna be something to do with Kang, which I have to like look up because I don't know Kang
Yeah, I don't know much
a
about
whole
Kang
lot.
either.
So I'll have to like read up on that and
It's impossible to know everything. There's so
yeah,
much.
dude. Like I didn't even know the Enchantress was a Marvel character.
Yeah,
So,
I
but
want to.
that's kind of why I love it so much. Like playing through Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 and doing like the DLC where the cop lady, what's her name? Doesn't matter.
Yuri.
Yuri, yeah, Yuri is actually like an evil character, and I'm like, what Yuri Watanabe? I'm like, what is this character? And it's like, oh, she's a villain. I'm like, oh, I had no idea, dude. Spider-Man's like my favorite. No idea what Yuri Watanabe was
It's
like a
almost like I
villain.
wish I didn't look that up because that would have been a
Well,
huge twist in the
oh,
future games for
well,
sure.
well, but in the DLC, she's like obviously going down that way. So when I
Oh,
looked it
I
up,
haven't gotten
uh,
that far in the DLC yet, dog.
oh really? Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
It's okay. I don't mind
But
spoilers.
but like yeah, I looked it up and I'm like, oh shit, she is a bad person. And I looked up what her thing is. I won't tell you anything, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fucking cool. That there's still some shit that I don't know about. Um, although I don't read a whole lot of comics, I just kind of read through the stories, the synopsises a lot of the time,
Yeah.
unless it's something that I'm super interested in.
Yeah. I
And
call myself a comic book fan, but I'm no encyclopedia on any sort of knowledge. You know, like
mhm,
I read the certain comics that I'm like, that sounds cool. I'll read that. I'll look through this. You know, I can't keep up with everything.
yeah,
Uh,
no way,
and you
no
know,
way.
like a lot of these stories come from like before we were fucking born. You know, so like it's yeah, it's impossible. Uh,
Yeah, it's just like if they put all the comics into like a Bible almost, maybe like let's just scrunch it all down into one thing like Wikipedia
I mean,
and just be
shit,
like,
dog.
here's that.
This is just the first collection of Invincible. There's
Yeah,
three of these books. Like you
it's
can't scrunch it
dude.
down.
Yeah, I know, it's stupid. There's got to be like cliff notes that you can buy that is that size for like this is all of Spider-Man forever, you know?
You
And
should
it's just like
if you're interested in like synopsis and stuff in like video form at all, um check out a channel called Comic Explained. It's
hmm,
uh it's really good. He just takes like story arcs in comic books and just sort of breaks it down and like gives you
that's cool.
the cliff notes.
That's usually how I get like my most of my comic information. Like the uh,
Like a
another
comic
Spider-Man
wiki.
was another Spider-Man one was the where everybody in New York turns into a Spider-Man.
Nice.
And I'm like, what? That happens? So I looked it up and I read through it and I'm like, this is fucking bizarre, dude. Yeah.
That's usually
But
how I
that one only ran for like four comic books or whatever.
that's
So
like
it's
how
not
I
very long.
find out about comic books that I want to read as well. Like I ended up reading the Superior Spider-Man series because I'm like, Doc Ock became Spider-Man at some point. I gotta read that. So
Yeah.
I went back and read it because it's fucking just a cool concept that I wanted to check out.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, I wanted to point out we didn't talk about it a whole lot. Fucking Mobius, they're like, so what are you gonna do? And he's just like, I'm gonna burn it
Burn it
down.
down.
He's just
Yeah,
like, oh fuck,
burn it down. Yeah.
damn son,
Like
this
what the
man
fuck is he gonna do? Like they left it so open.
is
I
Mobius.
fucking
Is Mobius a fucking Loki?
I could see that.
I mean, he's a survivor.
Yeah. I could see that. But
Are they
I
all
hope
Lokis?
I hope like the last frame in this movie, maybe not like the end credits, but just before the end credits, like
Steve
the final
Rogers.
no, is fucking Mobius on a jet ski,
Oh yeah,
like going into the sunset or something
like
like that.
hamming it up. Yeah,
Like yeah, just like enjoying the shit out of it.
or he gets on it, crashes, dies, and we never
Oh
see him
my
in the
god, what
MCU
the
again.
fuck?
It's just
Dude,
like it's his
nah,
biggest
man.
dream, and
Nah, hell no, dude. Fucking
uh,
Lightning McQueen in the MCU is needs to happen.
yeah,
We need to
ka-chow.
Ka-chow! And then he does the thing from like Cars 2 where he just flips for 600 feet and explodes.
Oh man, yeah, I'm very excited for the finale.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude, this show is just like next episode is better than the next, and
yeah,
it just keeps going.
it's a
I love it.
it's yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's more in the
Yeah,
vein of WandaVision, which I really, really fucking loved, than Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I was
yeah.
just sort of milquetoast on.
Well,
Um,
Falcon and Winter Soldier was very just like, this is it. You know what's gonna happen. This is your standard buddy cop sort of.
yeah,
We gotta pull the bad guy in to get the badder guy, and
it just
everything just kind of works out, you know.
it just felt like there was a
Whereas,
lot of stuff like cut from Falcon and Winter Soldier, and like there was a lot of like storylines. We talked about this, but like this one feels like they're doing everything they want to do. So much so that I'm like, I just want more of this shit, which is
yeah,
always a good thing. If you want more, that's a good thing, I think. So
yeah,
yeah, when the episode ended last night, I was like, damn man, I want more of that shit.
yeah. I mean, if they can wrap it up well, I don't want another one. Like, don't ruin it. But also, this show is so fucking fun.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Just, I wonder what's next. Is it She-Hulk? She-Hulk's gonna be the next one,
I don't know,
or is
but
it What If? I think it's What If is next.
I think it is What If. But we do have Black Widow this weekend, so that's something.
Mm. Hello, boyos. This is the Spoilercast for the season finale of Loki. Disney Plus show, MCU show. We fucking reviewing it. This is the last episode, and straight off the bat, not how I wanted it to end.
Really?
I'll put it that way. I put it that way.
Well, let me say this, Nicholas. Nicholas Sapon.
Yes.
I said it very early in the show. I think even episode 1, if you watch our first spoiler cast, I believe I said of the 3 shows, I could see this one the most
Having a second season.
being like a show with legs, you know, because I'm
Yep.
like, this is like X-Files. And now that I've seen the whole series, I'm like, no, it's more like Doctor Who. Especially with this ending, which I liked the ending. I think of the 3 shows, this has the most solid ending.
Well, okay, of the 3 shows, this is by far the best show. It's the best one of the 3.
I would say it is also the best show, but I think WandaVision has some better moments,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like,
I get it.
on the whole, this show is better, but WandaVision had some moments that were just so good. You know, like A tier shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? S tier shit.
S tier shit. Okay, so Owen Wilson doesn't end up on a jet ski. That made me sad.
I know, but there's still time.
Loki
There's still
loses
time.
the girl, which makes me sad.
But there's still time. They kissed.
Right. And she cares about him, but she
Great
had to do her
moment.
own thing,
Great
and
moment.
I get it. Yeah, super good. But the biggest thing for me in this episode was the exposition from the guy who didn't really seem like he was acting. Kang.
Yeah,
I think it's Kang, right? Yeah.
it is
Kang the
yeah.
Conqueror. Yeah, Kang.
They don't ever say that, but yeah.
No, but he just, I don't know. I did not like his acting. He was just like, I just showed up. And I think I guess that was supposed to be because he's seen it over and over again and he's like not surprised with anything. But I just didn't buy it. Like it just felt he was the only character in this whole show where I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like the whole attitude.
So I'm a little torn on it myself, because I wasn't expecting him to be like goofy,
Right.
and like I don't know, he was kind of silly. But the thing is, so we called this early on in the show. I think everyone in the universe called this shit. That Kang was gonna be the big bad at the end,
Right.
and the way I see it. So, Carl Majors, is that his name? Jonathan
I-
Majors.
I
That's
don't
the
know.
actor's name. So, Jonathan Majors was announced to be Kang in Ant-Man versus the Wasp, Quantumanium, or whatever the fuck that movie's called, right? And he was
Right.
announced as the cast member in that movie.
Right.
And people were like, hey, are you going to be in Loki? He's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know. And to me, what I'm suspecting is that the version of Kang he's playing in Ant-Man and the Wasp, completely different than
Right.
the version he's going to play here. And I was like, okay with this version, especially like when you really consider the fact that, all right, take all of our knowledge, right? All of our nerd knowledge. We're like, it's Kang, it's going to be Kang, right? Someone who only watches the MCU, doesn't watch anything else. They have no idea who Kang is, who anyone is, right? This
Right.
guy shows up. They introduce him for the first time. He just eats the scenery for like 20 minutes of the episode. Really, it's his episode. And I think they did a pretty good job for like a villain that they introduced in the last episode for you to be like, I cannot wait until season 2 to know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
and like to me, he wasn't even like a villain per se. He was like,
No.
listen, me as a human, I'm pretty bad, like all around. I start all these wars. Me, I'm like a variant that's like, I didn't want to do that, so I just kind of stopped it all from happening.
Right.
And if you
But
kill
in order
me,
to do that, I have to kill a whole bunch of timelines.
right? And if you
I
kill me,
destroy free will.
if you kill me, other versions of me are gonna come, and it's gonna be bad.
Right.
So like he was a sort of weird, goofy version, where like I think later, like season 2 of Loki and whatever we see in Quantumanium is gonna be a more like,
It'll be-
I'm King,
yeah.
you know, like
It'll be different for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I think that's what they set up. They really did themselves good. Disney really did themselves fucking great with this timeline bullshit because they literally can do anything they want. It has become the tardigrade. It's become the hot tub time machine. Like you can literally do whatever the fuck you want to do. It's the animus from Assassin's Creed. You know,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
wherever you want to go with the show, it's open. You know, it's an infinite possibilities. If an actor dies, you can rehire him. If an actor doesn't work out, you can rehire him and say he's from a different dimension, a different time. You know, it doesn't matter. This is also kind of good news for, the Strange movie, Wanda and Strange, whatever that movie is going to be called.
Doctor Strange 2, and dare I say, the end of this episode, it revealed that there was a multiverse of madness. Let's just say that.
That's true.
This leads right into that shit because
It
that's
sure
what
does.
Doctor Strange 2 is called. Doctor
It sure
Strange
does.
2 and the Multiverse of Madness.
So I think our next huge villain, it might not be like Thanos huge, but it'll be like our
Avengers.
next big Avengers villain is Kang.
Yeah. I think so too. Mhm.
It leads right into Spider-Man Far From Home. It leads right into the
It's called No Way
Ant-Man
Home,
Wasp.
by the way.
What?
It's called No, Way Home.
Yeah, No Way Home. That's right. So it's so like it makes sense. And now She-Hulk's coming out too, and I think that's gonna stem from
Yeah, that's
a
true.
multiverse sort of situation. So
It makes me wonder if the what ifs are going to be like, hey, these are parallel timelines.
Yeah, these are canon because
Yeah.
why?
Like
why
these
not?
are
Why
actually
wouldn't they be?
real. These aren't just what ifs. These are actually like happening in different timelines.
And I really love that because it is so comic books.
It is.
Like it's comic books in video form, and I really dig that.
It's cool. It's a little concerning because I mean, like, Marvel's already had like a stakes issue where, like, you know, because no one dies, so like the stakes issue. This really takes the stakes out of everything, in my opinion, because it's like,
No, because because you know,
especially
you
with
get
time travel, because time travel really makes things like
right, but then you get actors that die. Like I don't think
yeah.
we'll see. I don't think we'll see Wakanda Man in any movies. I don't. I forget his name.
Yeah,
The Black Panther, the guy
Chadwick
who played
Boseman.
Beck. Yeah, I don't think he's going to show up in any movies as like a digital rendering or whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't think Tony Stark's going to come back. I don't think uh, Captain America is going to come back. I just think those guys are done.
So
They're
do you think this is their way of being able to recast those people?
yeah, exactly. So
I think even with this as an answer to that, I think people won't like receive it well. To me, this is more of an answer to like the X-Men more than anything else, because it's like, where have the X-Men been? Well, they got merged into our timeline. They've been existing totally in a different timeline forever, but now they're part of ours. It's like
Right.
X-Men, they're here now.
and like
Mutants.
Deadpool and shit like that.
Yeah,
Like this
yeah.
is the perfect spot for Deadpool to come in.
Did you
You
see
know.
that little short?
I did. I did with where he's reviewing like Free Guy or whatever.
It's him and Korg, or yeah,
Yeah.
I think his name is Korg.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. It's Ryan Reynolds being fucking Ryan Reynolds.
And Taika
which is
Waititi.
Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what the future of Marvel is. The end scene made me so fucking sad though. Like it made me so sad.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "Hey, we fucked up, you guys," and they're like, "Oh, you're an analyst, aren't you? What's your name?" And then it's just like, "Oh no, man! What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Anything?"
And it was played so perfectly. He's like, "You're an analyst, right?" And Loki's like, let me think. He's like, "You must be like trying to be deep with me right now." He's like, yeah. He's like, no. Like, who are you? You're an analyst, right?
Right. I actually had to like rewatch it because it was just so smooth.
Yeah.
The delivery on that was so smooth. It was just like, wait, what? How did he get to that? How did he get to this point? And it just like, did I miss something? No, it was just that well delivered that it felt like I missed something, but it was just buttery smooth.
The thing I liked a lot about this episode versus like Wanda and Falcon. For one, Wanda and Falcon both had these like kind of happy endings, which was super weird in Wanda in particular because she like held these people prisoner, and it's just like, happy ending. Sorry guys, I'm out of here. But this one wasn't that. This one was, and it shouldn't be because it's Loki, and it's like, shit kind of hit the fan. And also, this whole episode was way more just like exposition than like shooty lasers, which were WandaVision
I
and
enjoy
Falcon.
that.
Me too, because it's like,
lot more.
I wanted all these answers, and it's been leading to these questions being answered, and they answered them until the ending, where it left on a cliffhanger for you to be like, I want even more.
Season 2. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Great.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about them announcing season 2 in like the mid credits?
It makes sense. I mean, they did it with Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It only makes sense to do it here.
My thing is like, and like, I think of all the shows, like, yeah, Loki should probably be the long running one, but like, I kind of like the idea of these just being like mini-series, like one-offs. I don't want these really to be long shows. But I guess as long as it's just Loki that gets multiple seasons, and it's not like, and fucking
and
She-Hulk.
WandaVision 2, yeah.
Well, I know that one will never, because that one was just weird anyway. But like She-Hulk season 2, and like, Hawkeye season 2, it's like, no, I want more just like one-offs, because I feel like those are way more impactful, and you could tell more of a like complete story there. I don't want all of these shows to end with these cliffhangers like that. I'm okay with it here, but if these shows keep doing that, I have a feeling these shows are going to turn into what happened on Netflix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just gonna be oversaturation really
Right.
quickly, and then it's just gonna be like, okay, season 2 of Loki. Well, I don't really like Loki. The third season kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I'm more into She-Hulk, and then that kind of sucks, you
Well,
know.
as long as Loki is like the Daredevil of the Netflix series, and that's the only one that goes, because that one was good for all 3 seasons, and all these other ones can be one-offs. Because
Hmm.
it's way more appealing to be like, hey, we hired like this director to like tell this concise but like longer form story about this character, and then that's it, you know,
Yep.
like a
Yep. I enjoy
one-off.
that way more.
Yeah, me too, and it has they can like tell some like real like MCU changing shit that you don't want to put in the movies because maybe it's too weird, which is why I think they did this in Loki.
Could you imagine if this was a movie though? Like how they would pull this off as a movie?
Yeah, well, and that's another thing about this show is yeah they set up this like multiverse, but like if it just came out in Spider-Man, right, and it's like hey, there's a multiverse, I think everyone would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Well,
it
I
is a
think that's
little
exactly
unnecessary
I think
to
that's
do this
what's
show, but
going to
it's like,
happen. I think that's what's going to happen because the people who aren't watching the show, you know, they're going to have to catch up somehow. And you know, Marvel's going to give them answers like what happened, you know. It's going to be like, "Hey, watch our Disney Plus show, but in case you missed it, here's a little trailer for you about what happened." And then it'll be like, "Yeah, there's a multiverse." You know, it's kind of like the way they explain the blip in Endgame. Like if you didn't see Infinity War, you kind of got the impression of what happened in Endgame, you know?
just with that opening
It's
sequence.
just with
Yeah.
the opening sequence. They do so far they've done a pretty good job at like
Yeah.
filling you in.
Endgame, you really needed to see Infinity War, though. that,
Well, yeah, it definitely makes it better, especially
yeah.
like the scene with where Thor like lobs his head off.
Yeah.
Um,
Go for the head.
but yeah, yeah. I think they'll do. I think they're gonna rehash what has gone over in the shows in a movie of some sort. Um, yeah,
Yeah. But that's the thing, though. Like, this show is a little unnecessary. Because, like, what I mean by, like, they didn't have to explain that, like, because of Loki, now there is a multiverse.
right.
It could have just been like the multiverse always existed, here it is. And
Yeah.
that could have been their whole exposition. And they
Hmm.
decided, no, let's have a reason behind it.
Yeah,
Which
Loki
is
fucks the whole thing up.
yeah, which is like that's neat, I guess. And you get to introduce Sylvie, who I really like as a character. I'm excited to see more of her in season 2. I'm really excited to see more of Owen Wilson. He killed it in this episode when he was talking to the director, because I just love the way he like whispers. He's like, oh, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?"
Yeah,
He
yeah,
always
yeah.
whispers.
We're friends. We're
We were
friends,
best
aren't we?
friends.
Yeah, you're
And
you're the one that betrayed me.
and then he's like, oh, "I'll stab you," and then she just like totally.
But
He
like
totally
he knew she was gonna do that.
Yeah. Well, he just yeah. And I also think because this is like we're setting up a season 2, let's build a little bit more character on Mobius. He doesn't fight. That's Mobius. Mobius doesn't fight. And that
Yep.
that was like
Yeah.
it felt like a character moment almost.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
Mobius
maybe
doesn't
one
fight.
day when this whole series wraps up, eventually, um, he'll get on a jet ski.
I know. I was really hoping we'd get the jet ski. Uh
But
Yeah.
it makes sense for not keeping it in one season. Like all of the things that they set up in this episode have to be it's obvious that there's a second season. Like they didn't really even have to say oh there's a second season because it was just like yeah, all the shit that you've been setting up. Yeah, that makes sense. Like where did the freaking what's her face go? The director or whatever her name is.
right. Yeah.
What happened to the TVA? Like What happened to Sylvie? What happened to? There's so many
Right.
unanswered questions and so much more setup that it's just
Yeah. My guess is that this leads direct. Well, I think this is going to have ramifications on everything going forward. I think Shang-Chi is probably going to be like a more, like isolated sort of thing.
right. Yeah.
Just setting up that character, and then we'll maybe get a post-credit scene that's like,
Right.
hey, we need you in the Avengers or something. And then I think Eternals also will be a sort of self-isolated thing because it's like setting up new characters, and with the post-credits that's like, hey, we need you in the Avengers or something.
Right. Right. Right.
But I think Spider-Man, which comes out in December, which it's crazy we're getting 4 fucking Marvel movies this year. that's nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Spider-Man will do the multiverse thing, and I think it'll be more like just kind of exploring the multiverse, where it'll be like, hey, this might be the last Spider-Man movie, so like let's just have fun with the multiverse aspect of it.
You think this will be the last Spider-Man movie?
Well, not ever, but I think it might be the last with the Marvel, with Marvel Productions. Considering they had that huge blow up after the last one, and it was like a total mystery whether this one was going to exist. Yeah, I think this might be the last one.
A huge blow up? What do you mean by that?
Remember Marvel and Sony had that like huge thing where they were like the contract expired and they were like, no, you don't, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let you have it back. They must have come to some agreement behind the scenes, but I really feel like this might be the last Spider-Man movie. He might show up in like the Avengers movie one last time, but I feel like this might be the last, especially because like most of these characters have only had 3 fucking movies anyway.
Right.
And this would be his fucking 3rd.
Right. But the way
Iron Man only had 3.
You know how Sony is when it comes to deals, though. Like PlayStation, Sony, they're the same. Like you got the same company. If PlayStation if Sony is making money by doing literally nothing, they will do that. You know,
I don't think they literally do nothing though with these Spider-Man movies. I think they do all the marketing for them. I think they put up the production cost. It's just like they're the producers of the movie. Think of it like video games, right? Sony is the publisher, well, Marvel is the developer, right?
Right.
Disney Marvel is the developer of the movie, but Sony still publishes it. They still put it out there. They still distribute it. They still put all the work into it. So I'm pretty sure they're probably like, man, we're kind of setting up our own thing with fucking, and it'd be
Venom.
nice to have with Venom and Carnage and
Morbius.
Morpheus or
Morbius.
what Morbius.
Jesus.
And they're probably thinking, it'd be nice to have Spider-Man to throw into that mix of villains. So I don't know. But I mean, that's all speculation. So I do think like the next Spider-Man movie is just going to be like, hey, let's have fun. Let's bring fucking Tobey Maguire in. Let's bring in fucking Doc Ock from Spider-Man
Andrew
2.
Garfield. Yeah.
Andrew Garfield might appear. Like, yeah, let's just like go crazy with the whole multiverse thing. And then I think Multiverse of Madness is going to be like the big blow up that leads to Loki season 2. Right? And then after Multiverse of Madness, we get season 2, and then we'll probably get the Avengers movie, whatever that is.
Right. I don't know, man, because I think they're working together. Sony and Disney, I think, are working together.
I'd love to be wrong. Like, don't get me wrong. I'd love to
put together the Sinister Six, because in the first Spider-Man Homecoming, you got Vulture, right?
Yeah.
And Vulture like runs into Scorpion in prison. And Scorpion's like, "Hey, I heard you know who the Spider-Man is," and he's like, "If I did, he'd be dead." But then also they set up like Venom and Carnage. Or is that only in the Venom movie? Is Carnage only in the Venom movie?
Yeah.
I could have swore I could have swore Woody Harrelson's in the MCU somewhere as Carnage.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. And I haven't seen those Venom movies. Well, the second one's not out yet, but I didn't even see the first one.
It's pretty okay. It's kind of stupid, but
It looks stupid. That's why I didn't see it.
it's for edgy kids.
I love Carnage too, and I don't have the heart to see it. Looks like they're gonna make a joke out of Carnage, and I don't like that. I don't like that. Carnage should be a rated R film.
Yeah, it should be.
His name is
But
Carnage.
so should Venom.
I don't know. Venom is always. I associate Venom far more with Spider-Man than I do Carnage.
What do you associate Carnage with?
The Carnage comics, where he's just killing people and doing Carnage things.
Oh, see, I get him with Spider-Man. Like that just makes sense to me.
I have like a huge collection of like Carnage comics, and oh man, the art is so fucking good. Anyway, tangents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked this episode. We haven't really talked. We're talking a lot about the future of the MCU and not a whole lot about the episode, but
Well, I mean, what is there to talk about?
Yeah, I feel like
they
this-
show up. They show up to the castle, which we saw at the end credits of the last one, and then they walk in. They meet Kang, and he literally just tells them everything, and then Sylvie stabs him, and the whole thing just kind of collapses, explodes, and there's more timelines, and it's all set up. Like that was the end of the episode. There wasn't a whole lot going on,
but there was.
episode.
I mean, like there was a lot of exposition. That yeah, and it just leads to the ramifications of the MCU, which I guess is why we've gone so heavily into the MCU and the future of the MCU. This more than almost any other, like even the movies, like has had more ramifications on the MCU than anything else, I think. Other than Infinity War, where the snap, but
where it literally killed people. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because like with Ultron and in Avengers 1, I didn't feel like anything would have changed. You know, I just didn't feel like anything actually changed in those films.
Well, yeah, I mean, like they're big threats. Like Ultron was like going to like police the entire, like enslave the entire world or whatever, and then like the first Avengers was about Hydra, and like Shield is actually Hydra or whatever. I don't even remember. It's been so long.
Well, the first Avengers was Loki.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Loki comes in. I'm thinking of fucking Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's been so long since that first Avengers movie I don't think holds up, but I haven't watched it in a long time, so
It probably does okay.
I didn't even like it when it came out. I remember when it came out and I'm like, I don't even understand why people like this so much.
Because
it
it's
was kind of
different.
lame.
It's different.
Yeah.
It took all of the characters that they were setting up and it put them together, and it did it okay. You know?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It wasn't what are they called?
Fantastic Four.
Well, it wasn't but that's one character group, you know, that's the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Which I
this is
really
Avengers.
fucking hope they add to
Yeah, they will.
to the fucking timeline. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Apparently it got confirmed that Loki is going to make an appearance in Doctor Strange. So
I could see that.
yeah.
I could
Seems
see
like
that.
these shows are leading straight into Doctor Strange, aside from Falcon Winter Soldier, which seems to be leading into the next Captain America movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if the villains of this next stretch, forever how long it is is just going to be Kang's. Like,
I-
there's not going to
I
be
think-
any
yeah.
other villain except like different iterations of Kang.
Yeah, I think not every movie, but I think like Kang will be the villain of Multiverse of Madness. He will be the villain of Quantumania. He will be the villain of season 2 of Loki, and he will probably be the villain of Avengers, which I think is really fucking cool because it's like, man, you're really building this villain up as like because it's like we're stopping this villain from doing
Everywhere.
this one thing. We
Right.
can't fully stop him, but we'll stop him from doing this thing. And then in Ant-Man and the Wasp, they're like, we'll stop him from doing this thing. We can't fully stop him, but we stopped
Right.
him from doing whatever he's trying to do in this
We
movie.
stopped one version of him
or
trying
like-
to complete one
Or like one
task.
aspect of his plan, but he's still out there. And
Right.
then it all leads to Avengers where they all come together and they're like, okay, we need to fucking take this dude out for real. You know?
And
the
maybe-
and the Fantastic Four are here. Look at that.
Holy shit! Holy crap! The
Yeah.
Fantastic Four showed up. Who did they bring? Oh shit! It's Doom. That's much worse. That's political. All right.
The show or Avengers ends, and they're all about to lose to Kang. Some dude in a metal suit comes out. He's like, I have a solution, and it's fucking Doctor Doom. And he's like, I take over the world.
Just fucking crushes.
Roll
everything.
credits.
He somehow like fuses the timelines together.
So
Fixes
I
everything.
did say this earlier in our reviews of Loki, I believe, where I'm like, this could be also where Marvel like jumps the shark, you know? Because like
Yeah.
this is pretty like wacky, you know?
I like it though. I like the
it.
wackiness.
I like it too. So
And the
far.
next show, What If, is gonna be fucking wacky.
Yeah, but What If doesn't really feel like a real thing. Just kind of feels like a, you know, just like a fun thing. I don't even think we need to do one of these for What If, you know.
You don't think so? Well, we'll see. We'll watch the first episode and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I just think they're, you know, they're just like fun little cartoons. I don't think we'll see. They're not going to have like ramifications on the MCU. There's like nothing to spoil, you know.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Well, that's been our show of our deep dive, I guess. I guess it's kind of a deep dive. Our deep dive of the Loki show. This finale came out. We'll probably put all these together like we did with Falcon Winter Soldier for a big long episode. And yeah, thanks for hanging out, listening.
Yeah, and we will also be reviewing Black Widow in the next 6 weeks at some point.
Whenever I get a chance to.
I saw it. Let me give my quick review of Black Widow, okay? Here it is.
Here
Quick
it is.
review. It's pretty good.
Okay. Oh, I'll have to see it. It'll probably be this weekend. I'll probably get really fucking bored and just go to the movies by myself like a loser.
Well, since we won't have anything next Wednesday, maybe we do it then.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Or I could rent the Hulk and watch that too.
We could do both next week. We could do Black Widow and the Hulk. We could do Black Widow on Monday and Hulk on Wednesday.
We could try that.
I'm down for
Oh.
that.
We could do it. Thanks for watching. This has been the Lonercast. Follow us on everything. Whatever.
Live
Take it easy.
live scheduling on air.
Live scheduling on air. Yeah, that's what you get. It's the
That's-
Lonercast guarantee.
The Lonercast guarantee, baby.